Today's episode of the unofficial One Piece podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon. Go to kolektakon.com/One Piece for all your One Piece Mega House merchandise. Again, that's kolektakon.com/One Piece. This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 335 for the week of, let's say, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And we also have...
Me, the dude. Hi, hello.
So we have a good podcast for you this week.
We also have Steven joining us.
We have Steven joining us for the manga recap.
Not here.
He's not here. He is a very special guest, though. I do have to say that it's contractually obligated. He made me write that in. Anyway, so we have a really good show for you today. We have a really good manga chapter for chapter 758. We also have we have a special to talk about, Ed. What's it called?
Yes, it's 3D2Y Overcome Ace's Death, Luffy's Vow to His Friends. A nearly 2-hour television special that we're going to talk about.
And Ed and Steve saw that this week. I will probably give my 2 cents for it next week a little bit, but we'll do a segment on it this week. If you're wondering why we're coming out on Tuesday, there was a holiday here in the United States called Labor Day, and I figure it makes sense that we were not podcasting on a day of labor. That's what that's for, right? So, yeah, we're going to go through the 3D2Y special. And Ed, is that available officially somehow?
It sure is. It's available on Crunchyroll and Funimation. It's the first time a television special has been available like this before. We've had like episode of Nami, an episode of Luffy, an episode of Mary, but this is the first one that's been simulcast on the internet. And
that includes, and we haven't even had like crossover episodes like
Toriko.
The Toriko. I think there were 2 of those, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So this is a big deal. And we're very excited about this. If you haven't got a chance to watch it...
What do you say to Funimation and Toei?
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you haven't had a chance to watch it, go check it out. It's in HD on Crunchyroll, as everything is. Check that out, or on Funimation.com, OnePieceOfficial.com. You can check it out there as well. That's for Crunchyroll, at least. I don't know if it's probably going to go to Hulu if it hasn't already within the next few days. So it'll be available on set-top devices and everywhere you want internet. We also have a very long piece together segment this week. A lot of cool stuff. Just to go through 3D2Y stuff, as if you're not hyped enough for it, although Ed is probably going to get you down a little bit. We have...
I didn't think it was that bad.
We also have an interview with the cast. Arata Furuta. You know what?
Arata Furuta.
Hey. And Mayumi Tanaka. Interview, that was an interview on the One Piece official website. That's one-piece.com. William helped put together some really cool excerpts there, including some wrestling references for those of you out there who are curious about that.
I wonder if that would cater to me.
So check that out. We also have information about international releases on our website. This is all available on onepiecepodcast.com, including there's a French airing, and just really, there's a light novel coming out, and there are teaser videos. If you don't feel like watching the full movie and just want to watch the videos, you can check those out.
It is quite long.
I'm looking forward to watching it this week. I'll give my feedback on it. Before we go into the podcast, there's also been a bunch of bigger news this week in the One Piece world. Pirate Warriors 3 was announced this week. I'm excited about that.
I'm not, because it's next gen.
Oh, it's all next gen?
I think so.
No, it's also coming out for PS3.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm excited. Woo!
And I have to assume it's probably going to come out here as well, since they've all come out here up to this point downloadable. Yeah, it's coming out on the. It's coming out. I don't want to jinx it, so I'll knock on something. I don't know. PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4. That's coming out in 2015. No date has been set yet. The Tokyo Game Show held September 20th through 21st will be showing a preview of the game. So stay tuned to us and the One Piece Podcast News for more. That's on OnePiecePodcast.com. Big thanks to Adil for that information. There's also a bunch of big box sets coming out. We talked a little bit about this last week. Funimation's coming out with their 100-plus episode box sets. The first one is tentatively coming out. We have a date now, January 6th. That's episodes 1 through 103. And how much is it? You guys remember?
$9.99.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's around $70. It's $69.99, I believe. Available now on Amazon. I believe that is an exclusive for Amazon at this moment. So check those out. There's also apparently a French release for Episode of Mary. Check the site out for more details about that. And a lot about Super Grand Battle X, which I know Dude is excited about. You can check all that out and a lot more on OnePiecePodcast.com, and check us out throughout the week for more news. It's been pretty busy in the One Piece world lately. So yeah.
But check out OnePiecePodcast.com. It's the news segment, but in text form.
Yeah. And since there was big news, I thought we should talk about that. They also came out with the cover for the next manga set, the big manga sets.
From Viz?
From Viz. It looks really cool.
Did we mention the new volume cover, too? Did we ever talk about that on the podcast?
The Volume 75? We'll talk about that when we do our Volume 75 recap, which will either be next week or the week after, depending on when Steven gets his volume. So we'll talk about that in detail when we do that segment. It's probably going to be a long segment, but it's always a lot of fun to go through the SBS with Steven. And if something magically works out, maybe we could try and get Greg. But it's tough these days. Anyway, I think we're ready to get into the show. You guys ready?
All right.
This is the manga recap for chapter 758. Just keep going. Ed, what's on the front page here?
On the front page, we have Volume 7 of the solitary journey of Jinbei, first son of the sea, and a ship is sinking, and it has 3 big claw swipes out of it. Kind of like Shanks' face.
Yes. Blackbeard is behind this.
Yes, clearly.
It was Blackbeard all along.
So the plot thickens. We have a ship.
It was me, Jinbei! Sorry.
Blackbeard, brah. Why are you making catfish cry, brah?
Oh, man. Yeah, not much happened this week.
I don't know. Kind of reminiscent of Skypiea. Like, there's a ship falling out of the sky, then through the water, and then deeper into the water. I don't know. I can't really find a lot to really drag out about this.
That would be pretty awesome if, like, Masira and Shoujo just showed up and just started tearing the ship apart.
Oh, I hope so. That's awesome.
We really don't know where this is going, but it's a nice excuse to have a cameo.
It's better than having Caribou every week. I forgot his name. I literally forgot his name just then.
I would have forgot his name if you asked me. So
if just every cover page was just the catfish crying, I would enjoy that more than Caribou.
The Caribou. I was gonna say.
No offense, Oda. It's just Caribou. I don't really care for him.
I don't care for him.
I don't even like joking about him. He's just.
There's not much to joke about except for his dead grandma.
Yeah. He's actually like a character I just really don't like. Yes, we actually managed to drag out talking about this cover page this week.
Hey, Ed, what happens on the next page?
Ed, go ahead.
Thank you, dude.
Are you sure you want to go ahead?
I'm back on the 4th step of the plateau and Dressrosa in the flower field. They're at Luffy asks Soldier if he can handle this, and Kyros is very confident. So Luffy and Law decide to go find Doflamingo, and Diamante's like, I don't think so. Woo! But
what?
He's hyped up.
Yeah. Kyros is like, no, you're fighting me. And we have, and then Luffy turns to Rebecca, and I really like this little scene here. You finally met your dad, and Luffy does this big stupid smile, and Rebecca makes a pouty face, and it's kind of a sweet moment right there. I like that. And then Luffy and Law are off, and
And that's when God Enderu came.
Yeah, was that actually thunder?
Yeah.
oh yeah, it is quite thundery here in DC right now.
Is that an adjective?
I'm about
Yes.
to get that too, actually.
Yeah, you'll get it in about 5 to 10 minutes probably.
Move over, Chris Jericho. We're the new pot of thunder.
And rock and roll.
You get it. And you get it too, people that are listening.
Rebecca is sort of incredulous at Luffy and asks if he's really going to beat Doflamingo. And he's like, it's not. Well, she's been calling him Lucy this time, and he says, "My name ain't Lucy. It's Luffy. I'm the man who's going to be the king of the pirates." And he does this sort of turns and looks back and does the classic sort of Luffy
Does
smile.
the classic Luffy turn around and smile.
Yeah. It's a. I like this entire like second half of the page. It's really it's really great.
That's totally the thing that Luffy would do in his 80s sitcom credits.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the.
We now return to King of the Pirates.
Yeah, it takes place in Chicago, like all the 90s sitcoms.
We used to see this a lot more. It has actually been, I feel like, a while since we've seen him say his tagline.
Yeah,
in canon.
That's been.
It's such a refreshing moment. It's the old Luffy. He's
I think
always
that's
gonna be
that's why like half a page is devoted to it. If you think about it, yeah, it's good, and it's kind of maybe Rebecca will get some strength out of this too. Since
And now I can't help but imagine a Luffy sitcom. Hey, who ate all the meat? Must have been a mystery. Standing tall.
So that's the end of that page.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
It's the end of that chapter.
No, not yet.
Okay,
Case closed. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
that wasn't me.
Was that
Oh,
Ed?
sorry, must have been that bean I ate.
We're just gonna leave this all in.
Yeah, aren't we?
So Luffy tells her not to worry anymore, and Diamante obviously is really, really pissed that they're able to just say that they're gonna just walk into the palace and beat the shit out of Doflamingo. So he uses his power to make a wavy little paper sword to stab at our
That
heroes.
looks threatening now that you.
It's totally like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing. Like, just sword just turns into a cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely. The singing sword. Okay, so he rounds up his little cartoon sword to to stab our heroes, but not before Law can chambers the shit out of them and replace them with a barrel.
Can we talk about Diamante's face on this page?
Thank you.
let's.
Do we have to?
Let's talk about his face. He's very mad.
He's very expressive with his face. And
Gah!
That's
at
like
the top of the page and at the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I mean that's such a space standy mouth.
He looks like he could probably be Django's older brother.
What's the
Yeah, totally.
What's the bad guy in Space Dandy called again? Dr. Gorilla or something?
Dr. Gel.
Dr. Gel. I was close because he's a gorilla, but he does look a lot like him. Dr. Zayas. That's what his name should have been.
I also love how Luffy's so nonchalant and not paying attention to anything else going on. He's probably just thinking in his head, "Oh man, I just said I'm going to be king of the pirates again. I sounded so awesome."
Law just
at all.
Law just like tugs at him like he's a kid. Like, get over here.
Did you hear those credits roll
You're
just now?
embarrassing us in public.
Embarrassing.
That's like when I was a kid and I was anyway. So we then smash cut to the pool courtyard, which is inside the palace, which is also the first place that we ever saw Doflamingo and his buddies hang out.
Oh yeah, true.
When he called up Virgo.
It's not looking so hot right now.
Maybe he's at the pool. He's filming the Big Pimpin' music video.
Yeah, where's the Escalade? Oh, I must have gone through that wall. So Luffy is flabbergasted that he's in the palace. Wow, I can't believe it. And Law explains that his powers take a toll on his stamina, but luckily, since Luffy was carrying him around the whole time, he had a chance to build his strength back up. and then you hear him just go, and then we find out that he just operated on himself and removed the bullets that Doflamingo had shot him with.
Took him long enough.
Yeah, although turns out they're lead bullets, not sea stone. So Doflamingo is obviously just messing around with law, which I could see that being something that would piss him off.
Well, that's when we originally talked about him getting shot, and it's like, oh, this is so inconsequential. It's clearly that he was just messing with him, and this just proves it.
There was a lot of discussion. I'm sure we got some piece together stuff asking if the lead thing was important, because there were some people, I think, that were theorizing that whatever the background, the White Town thing was with law, that lead was somehow poisonous, or that it was somehow kind of a nod to back then. I'm not quite sure. I think it may have just been lead, as in the sense of like, oh, you fell full of lead, sort of thing,
as opposed to sea stone, yeah.
Right, or as opposed to slashing them up.
I'm curious if this actually leads to something, because I don't see anyone ever really. I know there's the possibility of sea stone bullets, but I don't think if anyone ever got shot, like, you shot me with bullets, lead bullets that you used with a handgun, 9mm.
Well, no, I thought that back when Doflamingo shot up Law, they made a point of saying that they were sea stone bullets or something.
Well, I know. I won't even spoil it, but we've seen in movies recently.
Yeah. And the sea stone cannonball from Wiper. I mean, it's a possibility. They exist, but I don't remember if it was specifically said by Doflamingo. Yeah, these are sea stone bullets, or if we were just assuming.
I have to go back into whatever volume that was.
I just remember him shooting, saying like,
it's been a year.
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. We talked about it last week, I think, but it's been a year since he's essentially been incapacitated. So these bullets have been within him for an entire year, our time.
Just fine, yes.
Jesus.
The war on Dressrosa has been raging for a year now.
Well, no, 2 years, if you go by that logic. This arc is old now. Go ahead, sorry.
This arc is so old.
It's so old.
So next page.
And on the next page, hey guys, do you remember Sugar? Well, if you forgot, here's the backstory. It took her 10 long years to make thousands and thousands of little toy slaves, and in one instant, all of her hard work was undone. So she wants revenge, and she spies with her two little eyes, Luffy and
crazy
Law.
eyes.
Yeah, she's upset.
She's pulling like a kind of like a shining like kid at the end of the hallway thing. Come play with us, whatever. Come play with me.
As opposed to the guy in the dog costume.
Oh God. Let's not talk about that. So yeah, she is going to get her revenge by just touching them with her hand and making it as though they'd never existed. And meanwhile,
I mean, a lot of people were predicting this was going to happen from the beginning. So
yeah,
just a theory. If that did happen, would Doflamingo suddenly go, "Oh, what the hell are we fighting about again?"
Yes,
good question.
And now
if Law went away, he'd forget why we're fighting.
And now I'm going to exact. And now, after everything that's happened to me, I'm going to exact my revenge on. Where am I? What's going on?
All right. On the former royal plateau, we go back to the Usopp and Kinemon and King Riku group, and Usopp is he's pointing out the severity of the situation, and he mentions that back when Robin had been turned into a toy, like Usopp is basically saying he had no idea that it had happened until the moment that it was undone, and he realized that she was a toy, but he never knew that she was at the time. And so he's like, this is super dangerous. If she touches Luffy, that'll be it. We won't even know about him. And he doesn't want to see that happen. So he's summoning his resolve. We've got to do something. We got to stop her. But as you can see in this pretty cool long view shot on the middle panel of the second page here, the palace is a long way away. It's across the entire kingdom.
Over the
Kinemon.
bust of Pika? The statue of Pika?
Over the. It almost looks like one of those old Roman statues. Now half of it's fallen apart. But it's impossible. You can't snipe her from this distance. Cannot be done. You can barely even see the palace at the very top there, because actually, if you see that big stone structure that's looming over the Flower Hill, that's just like the outer walls. The palace itself is way up at the very top. Yes, it's not going to be possible. Usopp doesn't care about the details. They're not answering their calls. So we just have to do this, desperation plan. And he gets this cool line: "I'm a sniper, and backup is where I shine. I shoot down the enemy by surprise to protect my people."
It's good to see the characters in this comic are learning from their past experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also good because we haven't really heard him as the sniper, I feel like, in a while. Or like
He hasn't done too much sniping. I think the last time maybe he shot down Buffalo. And Baby 5 at the end of
that's true.
Punk
That's
Hazard,
true, yeah.
but very far in between.
We'll talk about this more at the end of the chapter.
Totally.
Steve.
So we see the two Japanese guys, Kinemon and, of course, Kanjuro. And Kinemon's like, "Oh, there must be some way we could help." But Kanjuro's like, "But what's shooting that over there going to do?" Want to know what didn't help Kanjuro? Drawing a freaking giant ladder. Just saying.
But what is Usopp shooting is the question.
Yes. Yeah. The world may never know. Until the end of this chapter. King Riku, going back to his roots, gives Commander Tank an order, tells him to, lend help, protect Usopp. And I think everyone's kind of just like surprised, like, "Oh yeah, you're the king. We forgot about that," or the rightful king at least. And I think this is King Riku continuing, says, "The citizens are nearly, on our heels. They might even attack me." But he said, just make sure none of them are injured. So just hold them off, but don't hurt them. Terminator 2. Think that. No killing.
Ah.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay. And Tank says, you're asking for a lot. You're asking a lot of me. And he says, and Riku says, all we need is just time for him to shoot.
Whoa, thanks, King Dude.
So I was like, whoa, thanks, King Dude. Socrates. That's what I'm getting right here. And this is awesome. This is the beginning of some awesome stuff because Viola says, Usopp, Sugar's approaching them now. They're on the same floor. She's being his eyes, because that's her specialty. It goes hand in hand with Usopp sniping. Usopp is like, "Oh, don't lose sight of them. You're my all-seeing eye."
Whispering eye.
Mm-hmm. And the mob starts to make it over the wall. We know that because one guy said, "Made it." I was like, and then we get a rundown of the current roster. It's like, oh, there's King Riku, Lady Viola, Kinemon, and God Usopp. And the mob raids the roof of this, and that's not the roof. They're just on one of the plateaus. And
does that chef have a giant rolling pin?
I don't know what that is.
The former royal plateau. That's where they are.
Yeah, the former royal plateau. And for the former royal plateau, you need a nice roll. Yeah, that pun doesn't work. So yeah, the mob is coming, and Kinemon says we must we must hold our own, and Kanjuro looks a little shook up, but he agrees. And then we go back to all the way to the royal palace, and Luffy just says, "Hey, who's the kid?" And Viola reporting in says, "Sugar's in the courtyard."
And we
Now,
go ahead.
now at this point in the chapter, who is thinking that Luffy might actually get turned into a toy? I mean, because it's something we had speculated on enough in the last few weeks that I was thinking that maybe it could happen, and I think it greatly contributed to my enjoyment of this chapter.
No, I think once Usopp kind of declared it as like, oh, I'm going to snipe the shit out of her, basically.
We all
it was
that he was going to snipe her, and then everything would turn out okay.
Yeah, that's I I think at that point,
But I wasn't able to think of how he would be able to actually do it. So, and she was already so close that I thought he might actually get turned.
No,
God, I'm glad he didn't. Jesus, wait, that would like
delay a lot.
Oh
if only for like a second, maybe before she get. I don't know.
Well, you mean like she touches him, and then the thing comes. And, well, we'll get to that later. It doesn't. It doesn't seem to serve any purpose at that point, other than to see a Luffy doll.
Yes. Well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Though. It's not going to necessarily look like Luffy. All the toys that have like they're just random toys. Like Robin just turned into some ragdoll. So.
We'll talk a little more about we'll call them steak and salad theories a little bit later.
That's not even the argument I was going to have. So
I know. Well, we had questions about it, so probably in piece together we'll talk more about it.
It's like, I'm trying to guess what some of the questions might be. If everyone lost memory of Luffy, would One Piece just cease to be, and it would just be white? Like, we just like read the next chapter. It's just blank pages,
like that Futurama episode where they all get stuck in the void at the end. That's what it would turn into.
We could play dice. We could play
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Anyway, so we have King Riku dude at the top here saying, "Look, we're not gonna flee. We're not going anywhere."
That's his new name now, is King Riku dude.
Don't worry. And Viola is like, "No, father, watch out!" And Usopp's like, "Do not get distracted. We're doing something here."
Yes, he's saying that in a calm, collected voice. Do not get distracted.
Do not get. I am calm. I am collected. If he says it, it's like he's not. So it works better that way.
He's shaking.
And he's like, "Tell me." This is probably my favorite scene in the chapter here. Tell me exactly where in the courtyard she is. And as we see the ruckus happening behind Usopp, we see what I'm going to assume are metaphorical crosshairs. Yeah. Pointing at the one of the windows at the palace. We see not only how far it is, even zoomed in, it's far away, and so we zoom in closer and closer. Viola says, "Do you see the windows on the outer wall?" Well, it's just right of center. There are bars on the window. Usopp asks, "How many?" 1 vertical, 3 across. This is like straight out of some sort of action movie. I like it. Let's say with Liam Neeson. And we zoom in closer and closer, and you see the figures of Luffy. Now, he actually isn't seeing this, but we're seeing this as, I guess, Viola would be zooming in here. And we see the figures of Law, Luffy, and Sugar there, and she explains at the bottom of the window, it's around 4 feet off the ground, Sugar's around there. And he asks how big the bottom panes are, and it's going to be close. I can't really do the drama here. Can't give it really justice here. But
how big are the bottom panes? 20 inches wide, 16 inches tall. It's got to be close. Sugar's right in front. Sugar's right in front of them and closing.
There really needs to be some dramatic music.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Thank you.
I know I have a request for Alex, but I'll save it till close to the end of this page.
All right. So now we see from the center of Usopp's the Kabuto. It says
black Kabuto.
Well, we'll get to that.
Wow, gotta be a black Kabuto.
So we have Usopp's inner monologue here. The target's beyond the wall. If I miss, Luffy's gone. Guess what, Luffy? I don't want to hit the seas without you, man. Who else is going to save this kingdom? Is it just me, or has Usopp gotten a lot more Williamsburg-y?
Casual? Yeah, what's going on here?
He's broing out.
He's broing out.
No, he's just, he's like speaking to Luffy directly in this, so it's not like a formal thing. This is what he's feeling as he is getting ready to shoot. It's the... kind of the source of energy that he's calling upon to make this successful.
Bro out with Brosop. Sorry. So then he gets ready and he throws
I don't like it, Zach.
The silence told me. You didn't even have to say it. So he throws the super grown-up Great Black Kabuto. Just you wait, Sugar, you're not going to get away with this. And as he is about to throw it, Usopp sees something in the distance. use the Force.
Okay. Oh, and that kind of ruined it. But
I'm sorry.
Hey, dude, can we get a little bit of Obi-Wan and Battle Yavin right here?
Let go, Usopp. Turn off your targeting computer. I'm being super specific now.
It'd be funny if Obi-Wan
Use the Force.
How do I turn off my targeting computer?
It's the third button from the right, and then you turn the knob counterclockwise 5 times.
That's actually what he did in the movie.
Thing. All right, go.
So we zoom in and we see that he's able to see their spirits. And what exactly is going on there? Luffy's like, "Hey, little girl, what's going on?"
Oh, look at the baby. Where's your mom?
I think one of the most confounding parts of this chapter is figuring out what's happening in the scene that Usopp is watching here. So keep that in mind, Ed, as you...
No, I mean, she's just wandering in with crazy eyes. That's all that's happening.
Well, no, you'll see on the next page, the scene continues.
I'm surprised Law doesn't know who she is. I guess... her and Dellinger must have joined up with Doflamingo after he left. Or maybe
I don't know. Maybe
they were just infants. I have no idea.
Or maybe Law's just not even worried about it for whatever reason.
Law just doesn't care anymore. I'm like, something stupid will happen.
Well, Law left Doflamingo's crew 3 years prior to the taking of Dressrosa.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So he probably didn't meet Sugar.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's not like Doflamingo saw babies. I want that baby in my crew. Come on, baby.
Oh, babies. So many babies.
And I'll take that very catty baby, too. It's like, goo, goo, gaga.
Any excuse to do Dillinger impression. That's our Steve.
It's been a while.
Ed, go ahead.
And Usopp sees him, and it says Luffy's there, and he calls out his attack, the special long-range attack, Bagworm. And he's counting out the conditions to himself. Breeze from west to east, wind speed 4, slight tailwind.
And if
2.
we forget like anime logic for a second, he can yell out his attack because they won't hear it.
It works in this situation.
But here's a tip, Usopp. Snipers don't yell out their attacks.
They can.
Well, the people who are going to be affected by this attack would not hear it from where he is. So,
Yeah, that's right.
But as an anime character, he's compelled to do it anyway. And we see him getting Style and Viola and Kinemon with fingers in his mouth, and we see the thing flying away very fast, and the first booster exploding star goes off, and the projectile rises, and the rear end detaches. What?
I was counting down. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. After 2 seconds, the second booster fires. The wrapper falls, and then the projectile flies completely horizontal, headed for the lower left pane of the window and through the wall and onward, straight onward to the target. And we see Sugar. She's there with candy in her hand.
Oh, yeah. What the hell is happening?
A grape.
No, that's a grape.
Yeah, it's a grape.
Right.
Come on, bro.
You guys want some?
Well, I mean, Luffy. I mean, you gotta get food. That's how you get Luffy food.
They're nature's candy.
Yeah. Well, first off, why would Luffy even care about a grape? That's the first issue because
maybe that's what Luffy's saying to her. It's like, why would I care about a grape?
Let me lean down.
Don't you know
and look
who I
at
am? I'm Monkey D. Luffy, king of the pirates.
I only
an all-around carnivore.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Mighty Luffy, king of the pirates. And courage.
Criticize me for doing outdated voices.
I understood that reference.
Yeah, I did not expect a Snagglepuss.
That was the Cowardly Lion.
It sounds like a
Well,
Snagglepuss.
the guy
They all.
originated. Yeah, the guy who played the Cowardly Lion. Also, he was the basis for
Yeah.
Snagglepuss.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera just like took voices for everything.
That is true.
Trivia.
Okay.
Next page.
Well, I should mention I really like this. I should actually talk about the chapter. I really like that last panel on the page because we get
What the fuck is that?
we get the last bit of dialogue on the far right of the panel, and we get a huh, and then as you pan left, you just see this thing coming in, and there's no sound effect. That's what I love too. It's just complete silence. It just really sets the tone. Like this is the calm before the storm. I really like this panel.
And I like how there was actually a little foreshadowing to what was going on, like with what Kanjuro was saying, and so
With that.
yeah, exactly. So it's nice to see it pay off here, dude.
One other thing I liked Ed's pronunciation of projectile.
Projectile.
I was going to say something about it, but I didn't.
Projectile.
I say projectile.
Projectile. That's what I meant. Sorry.
You sound
Projectile.
You said projectile.
Projectile. Projectile. I say. Right.
Speaking of stealing voices from people.
Yeah. That was Terry Thomas.
I'm sorry.
All right. So in the next page, we find out what the fuck that thing actually was. The only way I can describe it, it's Usopp's fucking face from the time that he made Sugar pass the fuck out, and
her face is even funnier this time around.
I don't know what's funnier, her face or the recreation of his old face to awaken her trauma. And I think I like her face on the bottom panel the best, where she's just fainting. Her mouth is gigantic and his tongue is just out there.
This might be the most cartoony chapter in a while, and that says something.
And
I laughed so hard at this. I was concerned about Luffy for like half of the chapter because I actually kind of thought it could happen, and it was like the punchline. I laughed for like a minute straight. It was amazing. I probably scared people out in the hall.
Luffy and Law's confused faces as this thing goes by.
Oh my god, they're just like, what the hell was that?
When pigs fly. I feel like.
Will you be making that donation now, sir?
No.
I'll withdraw that. Yeah. So we hear theoretically Usopp's words to Luffy. Luffy, you don't need to know what that was. just
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink
keep going. And you see the special Usopp face bullet smack into the wall and become Kanjuro's drawing again. Or I guess that was Usopp's drawing that Kanjuro made into a doll. As we can see here. Yeah, what he says, what is the point of drawing this thing?
I would love to see that conversation as he was, okay, so now draw my face, now make the eyes kind of squiggly and also make my tongue kind of squiggly and just shoot them out really far. And in this really grotesque thing, like he's describing the face that he made. How does he know how his face looked?
Well, no. I have a question here. Could Usopp have drawn it and then Kanjuro have brought it to life, or used that, the materials that Kanjuro used that one time, the brush?
Oh God, I just realized
That's a good
something.
question. Yeah.
Because Usopp is a very good artist, actually. I mean, he's the one who drew the Jolly Roger,
Yeah.
so it would explain why this looks way better than anything Kanjuro has drawn up to this
They're
point.
saying it's a mystery drawing.
No, I think it's Usopp's drawing.
Speaking of mysteries, I just figured one out, and that might have been obvious to you guys. The little thing that was like tapering behind Usopp, that it kind of looked like a. I thought it was like a surgical glove or something, but it's like the arms and legs of the doll. I just got that.
Oh wow! Now I see it too.
Yeah.
I thought they were. I thought they were wings.
Oh yeah, I thought that
it
was
totally just looked like a rubber chicken.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not pick that up. Now it looks even funnier.
Yeah. It's just a little tiny ass Usopp with a giant,
little
fucked up head.
Creepy mini Usopp clone.
Oh my God! All right,
That
so
was created just to die.
so after this
that's so sad.
little tiny flashback of how this doll came to be created, Sugar's underlings are running up to her because she's passed out and foaming at the mouth, unlike I've ever seen. And as they're
She's
tying,
foamed so much she must be drowning on her own foam.
yeah, and as these mooks are tying Usopp up.
Good use.
Thank you. Viola? Yeah, Viola. It's like Violet, Viola. Yeah. Violin proclaims to Usopp, that was unbelievable. You're incredible. How did you do it? It was a success. You defeated Sugar. Hooray. And
We love you, Usopp.
yeah, they love him long time. And then the next page happens.
And boy, did it happen.
Yes.
Thanks, Steve. Steven.
And yes, Riku is he can't believe it either. Kinemon and Kanjuro are already tied up. And,
Yay, verily.
What an incredible try! Yeah, I was glad that I got to sneak that line in there. Yay, verily!
Yeah, that was great.
Because
I definitely
it was
laughed at
a really silly line in Japanese too. And yeah, so Usopp is relieved. He's like, yeah, and did they get through? And Viola's like, yes, they're fine. They've made it to the top floor of the palace for the final battle.
Final stage.
We're just calling these things out now, aren't we?
Well,
final battle.
That happens a little bit more here, so.
Yeah, and we have obviously Luffy and Law are standing up here, but we've got Doflamingo on his throne. He's also accompanied by Treble, and on the ground in between them looks like possibly Bellamy.
Probably
sure
Bellamy.
Yeah, it's almost definitely Bellamy.
Who's that? I don't know. Some random pirate. He got drunk and fell asleep.
It's Doflamingo's real doll.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good question. Like, can he do that? Could he create bodyguards of other people?
Probably. That actually, yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
We'll find out
So
soon.
yeah, Doflamingo, he's kind of done this on a few occasions now in this arc. He's like, okay, well, I'll give you one last chance here, just in case. What are you doing here?
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, Luffy's like, I'm gonna whoop your butt. Law says ditto, and Doflamingo is disappointed, although he does not look disappointed. He's
very condescending.
Yeah.
But it is disappointing.
Doflamingo just likes giving people the opportunity to say awesome lines at the end of chapters, is basically what that is.
State your business.
So what are your guys' thoughts on this chapter? Let's start with Steven.
Okay, so I guess first, like the very first thing I want to say is I'll just play devil's advocate for a little bit, because this chapter, like on the downside, it basically proved that the only reason that Sugar came back was like the only thing that it actually did really for the arc was she created those dolls that basically split Luffy and Law from Cavendish and Robin and Bartolomeo, so that they weren't all up in the same fight at the same time. Like, there was no reason why Oda had to bring her back. Like, he could have had Usopp have this big triumphant moment the very first time, but he didn't. And so it was kind of just treading water, the fact that she came back, because she didn't really do very much once she came back. However, I think everything else about this chapter was masterfully done. Like the Usopp thing, I know we didn't touch on it, but basically, like he basically came out and said, "Look, Usopp has Haki now." He had the observation Haki where he saw their spirits, which was a huge reveal. And on top of that, I just thought it was an incredibly finely honed balance of something that was really dramatic and really cool and totally comedic, like in a way that only One Piece can really do in this way. Like, just the fact that Usopp had this super triumph, he uses this skill, like this incredible skill. His accuracy is impeccable. It's probably like his most shining moment of heroism since like shooting the flag at Enies Lobby. And yet it has this absolutely ridiculous punchline at the end. I thought it was really fantastic. I just love this chapter.
Masterfully said, Stephen. You got the important stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Steve.
Okay. Like Stephen said, the whole time in the beginning, I said the first half of this chapter, very dramatic and very, this is so badass. Usopp's being so badass. Kind of forgot, this is Usopp. This is One Piece. And it led to like a punchline, but probably one of the best punchlines I've ever seen in this manga.
I wasn't thinking about it that hard, I guess. I thought
it was going to be
I took it like seriously at face value, so I was expecting like a serious ending, and then I got a joke at the end, and it made it that much better. I really enjoyed it because of that, and I think, as I mentioned before about what I thought about Luffy and Sugar, made it sort of more impactful for me than maybe for other people.
I was expecting a big explosion in Sugar's face, and that'd be it. And I'm like, okay, Usopp gets a moment. Like, this is still really badass on Usopp's part. I feel like I'm glossing over the fact that Usopp has Haki now, and I'm blown away by that. I think I probably could have said in the past that I maybe don't want to see. I think I've definitely said I don't want to see any of the other crewmates obtain devil fruit abilities. I don't know if I was necessarily shooting down Haki, but I think Usopp kind of just having some sort of superpower is great, especially if it kind of, it really caters to his abilities. Not just, now Usopp knows armament Haki, so he could go punch things. No, that's not Usopp, but.
And something that I'm gonna speak for Greg here, because I was talking to him about this chapter, and he pointed out something really interesting, and it's very fitting that when Usopp has this Haki thing, that this is the first point that we've kind of seen, quote unquote, seen Haki, like from how it would appear to someone, and how appropriate it is that it's through Usopp, because he is kind of like the reader identification. He's like the normal guy in the crew, the one that we relate to the most, and so it's through his eyes that we kind of see this power for the first time, which was really, really cool.
Totally. That's a very good point. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to add. It's just that this was one of my most favorite chapters in quite a while. Yeah. Probably going back to, if I know the number off the top of my head, 723, when Sabo was revealed.
It was very skillful in its form as a chapter. Because a lot of times we talk about, the overall arc and the overall story, but this is a story within itself. This chapter acts as a story within itself, with chapters don't do as often as they should. So when it stands out when it's done well like this.
It was just this was masterfully told. It was done to perfection. I really have no complaints about this chapter.
Dude,
I think it's interesting that this chapter also confirmed way back when Usopp was struggling with sugar the first time around, people on the internet were complaining, and we were complaining too, about like how Usopp hasn't grown at all, and even with that ridiculous outcome of that first bout with sugar, there were some theories flying around that maybe the reason that he's still so cowardly is because he forgot about Robin, and he forgot about Sogeking and Enies Lobby and all that stuff, because that was partly his arc too, but it was because he had to go save Robin. This sort of confirmed in a way that theory.
You think so?
Kind of. If he forgot about Robin, then he forgot about everything that, why? Well, we did this thing at Enies Lobby, but why were we there? What did I learn from that? And I feel like if he had forgotten, this was so dire because if he had forgotten who Luffy was, he would have forgotten the entire reason that he was out to sea.
Yeah, he does kind of say on the page right now. It says I don't want to hit the seas without you.
Yeah.
If he lost all memory of Luffy, he'd probably lose his desire to sail the sea.
Do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Do a lot of things, not just sail the sea, but like Luffy taught him a lot of stuff about bravery, just by sailing with him and stuff. So I feel like that, and he would have lost his memory of the Going Merry, or I'm not really sure how her memory loss power works. I
think it's supposed to be
somebody write to Oda.
It's fantastical. Let's not
stop writing in wiener jokes. Let's
not delve into that. I loved that the fact that Usopp got a really huge bit of growth in this chapter. It was almost like I'm really glad that those chapters, the sugar and Usopp, happened beforehand, because it set up such an awesome callback. I thought it was absolutely brilliant and hilarious. As far as Rebecca goes, she didn't do. I know that she didn't do much this chapter, but I figure I'd chime in on this because Usopp was pretty much the star of this chapter anyway. I feel like Rebecca's pretty much done for this arc. If she does anything in this whole ordeal with Diamante, I have the sinking feeling that she's going to prevent Kyros from actually killing Diamante, because I don't know. something.
Well, that would be appropriate, considering that she's taking his lesson to her and using it to, to keep him from going beyond what he's, going to an immoral place. I think that's a good story right there.
Yeah, and also, it's what Ed said. Kyros has that backstory where he killed someone or many people. I forget. They're kind of vague about that, I think.
Yeah, so I'm basically just calling that because it's kind of telegraphed.
Yeah.
If there's anything about this arc that I think is sort of weak, it's not Kyros. I think Kyros is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But Rebecca...
I think you're selling Rebecca short. I think she's going to fight.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily weak. I actually think I don't love it, but I think it does play pretty well into that backstory in general as to Kyros trying to get over his violence, and in the same way, Rebecca trying to kind of get over her fears. So I think if they do I think Oda has the potential to have that play out well. Probably telegraphed in the way that you're saying, at least in the end, dude. I would not be surprised if she has to step up a little bit in general. We also have to remember all of those toys are gone now down in that level.
Yeah. What I just want to see is I just want to see a bit of. I want to see something from her, some sort of growth. And I'm not going to jump the gun at all, calling her a bad character or anything, because it's like reading half of a book and in the middle of like chapter 5 being like, oh wow, this character sucks because there's no growth. Like there's something that like I always have to like, I feel like I have to remind people about reading One Piece weekly, is that you don't get the full story if you're criticizing an entire chapter. You get like One Piece I think is best written in volume form because like this arc I think is shaping up to be as long as Skypiea, and I absolutely hated reading Skypiea week to week. But after rereading Skypiea a couple times, just all the way through, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I definitely want to, if time permitting, I definitely want to take the time to read through. When does this start? Volume 70, 71?
71, yeah.
And just read through this whole thing once it's all done and in volume form. I think I know, like Steve, you did a lot of that during jury duty, where you were just reading through a lot of One Piece.
But I was reading Water 7.
Yeah,
that's like enjoyment.
No. So I think this would be very enjoyable, as dude said. Anyway, Ed, did you have general thoughts about the chapter before we go off into a?
I really enjoy. I think I've said my piece about the chapter. I really enjoy it.
I just want to say a couple pieces that haven't been hit upon that I really liked here. We talked about Usopp being the relatable character, and we've talked about that a lot in the past. I mean, we did that One Piece 101 restart, whatever we called it, back in the day with Usopp talking about how Oda really discussed him as he's the character that you put in your shoes, and I didn't really think of what Steven thought of there. I thought that's really interesting, but also kind of thinking of him as the sniper. It's just really nice in this chapter to see that he's behind the curtain, so to speak. I mean, the whole chapter, the chapter title goes even, what is it? Just keep going. And you see that again when it actually hits. It's don't even worry about this. Just keep moving. I think there's something to be said about the modest or the background hero and kind of bringing together what a lot of you guys were saying. I think that's kind of what makes this so badass, this moment.
Before you close off, Zach, I did want to touch on something else. I kind of am hoping that this arc also brings out Haki and Robin. I don't know if it will or not, but I'm definitely in the camp that wants to see the rest of the crew eventually come into their own with their own brand of Haki. Mostly because I want to see Robin fight some more, and I feel like if she had like armament Haki, that could probably benefit her a lot.
Up until even it reminded me of something I want to say. Even up until what Steven said, I was kind of disappointed with the fact that Usopp has Haki, because he was that relatable guy. But it's nice now that it was portrayed in that way. I could kind of appreciate it a little more. Also, his six-pack's going away, so that's how you know he's becoming more relatable. No, I agree with you, dude. I think seeing Robin and the rest of the crew kind of use that power a little more. I think we're gonna. Actually, I'm positive we're going to see it by later and later as we progress into the series. The rest of the crew gain some form of Haki, because there's no way that final fight's going to happen without all of them knowing it in some way, shape, or form. And we know at this point Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy have it, right? And Usopp now. I would not be surprised if others as well.
No, it's going to be... We're going to have the monster... Now Usopp's going to think he's probably one of the monster trio now, and he can join in.
Well, he kind of said that at the beginning.
It's like, all right, we're going to go... all right, it's like, Zoro, Sanji, come on. We're going to go kick some ass, and Usopp's going to go, can I come too?
Why does he have that accent? No.
Can I come too?
Oh.
Any final thoughts?
I said him.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's get into the next segment. Ready, guys?
You okay?
Hello! Welcome to the 3D2Y recap. I'm Steve.
And I'm Ed.
And I'm ripping off other podcasts.
It's an homage.
It is an homage. Yes, no anime recap this week, but we're going to talk about the practically feature-length TV special.
It is longer than most of the One Piece movies. It's an hour and 47 minutes long.
I think Strong World and Zed are about 2 hours, about the same way.
I think it's almost the exact same amount of time as Film Zed.
Yeah.
It's crazy long. And we'll get to this. I mean, maybe now or maybe at the end.
This continues the tradition of the more feature-length TV specials. Last year was episode of Mary and episode of Luffy, right? I think we had 2.
Actually, yes. One Piece Film Zed was 107 minutes, the exact same as this TV special.
So, if anyone clamoring for the next One Piece movie, you got one already.
Yep.
I think before we get into talking about it, I think it's amazing that we legally got this in the first place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all of the other television TV specials, and there have been at least, I think this is like the seventh or 8th, and this is the only one that's ever been released in any form in North America. This is the first. This was on streaming, for those who don't know, streaming on Crunchyroll and on Funimation's website, and yeah, this is the first time anyone's been able to see a TV special of One Piece legally. I mean, they don't even air the crossover episodes with Toriko.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't be happier to have a Crunchyroll account. But let's get into this because it's long. We got to go through it.
We start off with a recap of the abbreviated recap of the end of the Marineford arc.
At first we start off with Ace and Luffy post Sabo death, having the speech like, this is important, that's why I'm bringing it up. Let's promise each other we'll go out there and sail the seas. Ace sounded a bit different to me, though. Didn't sound like the same voice actor.
I didn't really notice.
I don't know, and I'm about to go back and check, but
yeah.
And then we cut to, hey, here's some awesome parts in Marineford.
Yeah, this was my favorite part of the TV special. I'll be honest, because I really liked the quickness of it, like how they cut out. Like, I mean, there were lots of parts missing out of that, but they got the most important parts of Luffy's story.
Yeah,
which is the important part for this movie, and just the brutality. It was more brutal.
Yes,
the lava fist was more brutal in this special than it was on television.
I will get to that in a second.
Okay.
First of all, notice right away, animation, very different. I don't think... the animation director is Kodai Watanabe, while the director was Naoki Ito. I'm not sure if they've worked on anything One Piece before. If they did, my bad. But I feel like this is a totally new look for One Piece we've never seen before. My first thought was, wow, this looks really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed it most during the opening, but the rest of the movie, I had nothing to complain about with regard to the animation.
Never. I mean, it's not exactly on model with Oda's style, but it looks so great. And then, like, sometimes, it looks pretty true to One Piece, but it had a very distinct style, but it looked awesome. And after saying that, let me go back to Marineford. We get to the scene where Ace is set free. And Ace, Luffy, and Mr. 3 are falling from the platform, and Ace is just singing praise of Luffy like, oh, what a pal, Luffy. My brother. Who would have thought? You saved me, Luffy. You did a great job. Dead.
You can see the hole. It's like the difference between the censored version and the uncensored version of like DBZ episode 3, I think.
It immediately cuts to fist through Ace's torso.
And unlike in the anime, it looks like there's a hole in a person's chest.
Yes. Yeah. No vagueness or anything. I almost thought, like, is this a comedy? Because that was hilarious.
I was like, man, this is a lot hard. Well, this is a lot more hardcore than what they were able to do on the regular television show. And that's the weird thing. This aired on TV as well. So
yeah,
I don't really understand the different tolerance there.
But it was just funny. It was like there was no there was no transition. Mm-hmm. It was just,
and they do the weird and the wonky animation with Luffy's face when he's losing his mind, which I think is a good reflection, sort of external reflection of what's going on inside of him at the time. And I'm not sure if they really do that at any other point in this special, but I did like it when they used it there. So
yeah, but it's okay. It was all a bad dream.
Yeah. And then we have to have the good dreams, and they reanimate all the stuff from early in the series, and it looked really nice. I love that they went. This is like a 5-minute segment.
It's like, have I mentioned that the animation is spectacular yet?
I mean, it's so much better to watch just as a Zoro fan, to watch like his little abbreviated joining the crew segment in this movie. Back and watch those episodes from 1999, which look, frankly, it's not the same show.
Yeah, I used to think that the One Piece anime aged well, but now it's like going back, it's like just there's a lot more. I mean, there's always limited animation in the current stuff, but it does look like a completely different show.
Yeah.
And I thought like this is really eating up a lot of time, but damn, these scenes look great, so I don't mind.
Yeah. I wouldn't accept this in a One Piece film, but in a One Piece special, it's okay.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's special. It's just meant to be like a treat to the fans, so I don't really mind it. Mm-hmm. But no time for that. Luffy's about to fight a big animal, so cue the Strong World music.
Yeah. Then he gets slapped in the face by a toughness rabbit with his ears. It's cute.
I thought it was like I thought it was a black was it Lopin, the rabbits from that was just like the far worse, more meaner Lopin, but no, it's just a toughness rabbit. And Rayleigh's training Luffy.
Use the falls.
Yes, hands him a blindfold, but with the blindfold down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
See, there's this thing called Haki. That should have been the subtitle of this special. So there's a thing called Haki, 3D2Y. Let's take an hour and a half to explain how Haki works.
I hope Zach is listening to this because I want that to be the episode title. But hey, why don't we find out who the antagonist of this special is?
It's a very
Burndy World. It's a pun. He's got to burn the world. He's got to burn the world down to the ground. I'm not a fan of this very punny name, but it didn't really bother me.
I'm not a fan of him in general. He bores me.
You know what? I'll talk about that a little bit later because I don't think my opinions of him really came out till much later in the special. Mm-hmm. I do really like his design.
It's like the weird punk Viking look.
Yeah,
with the broken helmet.
And you know what? Like original Toei characters, like though I think Oda did design.
Yeah, he did design this guy.
Like when Toei designs their own characters, they just have this essence to them that just reeks of original anime character.
Like the Amigo Pirates. Bring them up at any
Sure, I feel
chance.
bad for saying that. I feel like Oda could have designed them, but it's more like I don't know. It's like Eric from the Opties arc reeks of just anime original. I don't know. It's just I think it's just like the designs and the color schemes. I don't know, but
or like those the ice hunters.
Yes, yeah, they look very anime original. But Burndy, he's got a crew. He's got a half giant, half fishman named Sebastian under the sea. He's got
Who is a Ray Charles wannabe.
Oh, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
We got Bojack, who the name I confused with
Screw you, Gypsy Pirate Man.
with Bojack from my favorite DBZ movie, or
that
BoJack
really your favorite
Horseman.
DBZ movie?
That is my favorite DBZ movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No, movie 12 is much better. I love the fusion.
Well, hey, what did I didn't say it's the best movie. It is my personal favorite.
Bojack is such a lame villain, though. Anyway,
this is a 20 minutes of bullshit conversation. I'll see you next time for that.
Yeah.
Bojack, just this really short old guy who always carries around an IV bag.
Very sickly.
Yes, very sickly. Nightchin, who's a very zany old lady doctor. I loved her design. I thought her facial expressions were great.
Yep.
I thought,
unfortunately, she's involved in what I think she's involved in by far the worst part of this special.
Yeah, and we will get to that. I did think I thought her face was structured very differently for the One Piece characters. Like it wasn't all just one solid object and the mouth moved.
Let's take that design and flush it right down the toilet.
Her cheekbone was animated, and that's what I like. Her jaw moves, and there was the cube guy.
The cube guy.
Cube guy. What the hell is his name again? I'm going to search real quick. I thought I wrote it down. Oh my god.
I didn't bother learning their.
I was like Guy Ram was the cube guy, and Nightshin was the old lady. But this scene was meant to just I think they got new crew members. They're doing a terrible job against marine warships, so just Burndy gets involved, and he uses a skywalk to go over there and just go crazy and find out he's fighting all these marines. A marine has a scythe for some reason.
A giant scythe.
A giant scythe. He's the Grim Reaper of the Marines. It's like you idiots are using guns.
That scythe was bigger than the ship.
A real man's weapon, yeah.
The scythe was bigger than the ship.
But yeah, we find out he has a devil fruit ability. I'll actually find it out a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he goes back, and I think he said oh, these guys were worthless. He killed. He.
Oh, there was a celestial dragon on that ship.
Yes. Yeah. Government, so pretty big deal there. He crunched up a bunch of nuts, and then he threw them at some of his crewmates and killed them. Killed some of those guys with nuts. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Burndy, he's crazy.
Yes. And I just want to say, I don't understand his motivation for being evil. I don't get it. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
More later.
We cut to Amazon Lily, where Hancock is worried about her hubby.
Yeah, she is very funny in small bits.
I felt honestly, I didn't feel like it was very annoying in this episode. I thought maybe it got dragged out a little bit too much here and there. I was just very happy to see Hancock in this role in this special.
Yeah. I was kind of worried about it at first, actually. Mm-hmm. With her being much in this special, but
yeah,
I mean, except for the really gross shit, or not gross, but just, I'm tired of it.
Being so used to Dressrosa and Bartolomeo, and then just watching this again, seeing how Hancock acts, she is Bartolomeo with boobies.
She's much more restrained than Bartolomeo is, actually.
Or Bartolomeo is is Hancock with
with balls.
With balls.
Yeah.
But she gets a government notice. world government is, right after Marine. Well, this is not really right after Marineford, but it's like, oh hey, we just called the warlords to fight Whitebeard, a year and a half ago. Let's have them fight some other pirate. And then I think we do cut back to Burndy's crew, and I must say I really enjoy most of their voices. I think they're pretty unique, especially Nightchin. I think she was probably my favorite of. This is sad because what happens later, but I thought like old lady Nightchin, I think she's very entertaining. I thought she had a very unique voice. I like
the idea of the very loyal crew who waited 30 years for their captain to get out of prison.
That's a very long time.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. Did the warlords not exist 30 years ago?
No. It's later in it, I think someone brings up warlords and someone has to explain it to World because he has no idea what they are.
Yeah.
And then we find out that his devil fruit is the more fruit, which makes things bigger or can make things faster.
Yep.
Which I assume only works on inanimate objects.
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of like
otherwise you could kill someone with an enlarged heart.
Ouchie. Yeah. So then he goes to Luscaina and basically trounces the Amazonians who had brought Luffy food and beats the crap out of Luffy.
Their transponder snails are adorable. I wrote that there, so I feel like I should say that.
And also, I mean, this is the first loss. So Luffy's lost once. He's going to lose at least one more time, and then he's going to win. So I was marking them down. I think it's the end of Act 1 here.
I wrote this down at first. I mean, it answered my question later, but I didn't know if it was just the lighting because it was at nighttime. But I was like, oh, did Burndy just use Haki on his face? It's like I thought it looked really cool, very intimidating.
Yeah.
Luffy did lose, and then we check up on the old Navy folks, seeing how they're doing.
Akainu is a little annoyed that the government contacted the warlords without telling him, but Tsuru's like, all right, calm down.
And this was a theme that the government was I know I'm going to save it for later because I thought of a great reference, but the government doing things without running by the Marines, and this is kind of like the moment of exposition where it kind of cuts back and forth with the people at the Navy headquarters and like Granny Neon, talking about Burndy.
Yeah,
pretty much saying like he was a pretty bad dude back in the day. And
he's basically like a thug pirate. He attacked pirates. He attacked all sorts of people, and he's really strong. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't get why. I mean, is that freedom? Because we talk about that later on in the special.
Well, Suru was concerned that he was going to bring other pirates under his wing because he's so strong. Maybe even the warlords. Which I was like,
I don't know. I didn't
believe that. I didn't think guys like Doflamingo like, oh, I better listen. I better follow this guy.
It turns out that the pirates and the Navy collaborated 30 years ago to imprison him. And I think this series also needs more conversations between Suru and Kizaru because they have a extended exchange, and they're very funny together.
Yeah, Kizaru seems to actually look up to Suru.
Yeah.
He's like, Suru.
She was talking about this stuff happened back when you were rookies. Remember that?
Yeah. I thought we were gonna have like a Film Z kind of flashback, paint a plane or whatever, just picture of them when they're younger. I think at this point we cut back to Burndy and his crew, and Burndy's explaining his plans. Like, I'm gonna have a really big cannon, and we're gonna shoot down Marie Joie. That's a good idea, right? I mean,
yeah. Burndy World's like a libertarian. They took his freedoms, so he's gonna bomb them.
And B.O. Jack's like, I don't think this is a good idea. It's like, really? I did not get that sense from you at all. You could tell. I could tell from the beginning this guy was very hesitant, and he's the typical, henchman that like is timid and for some reason thinks being aligned with evil is the best idea.
Yeah, and we get into that later.
But then we get into then at the end he refers to him as Big Brother, which is the reveal that they are brothers, they're related. Mm-hmm. And then we get the reveal of their big ship.
Their ship is ridiculous.
It is huge.
It's like Thriller Bark. It's
your transforming. Heart out,
yeah, it's a transforming submarine, and it's got multiple islands and whatnot.
It's a G.I. Joe playset.
It's where Dr. Evil lives. Is it a volcano?
So
Oh,
So- so
here mini boss fight number 1, Sebastian.
yeah, because the Amazonians and Luffy are going to take down Burndy, and they're greeted by Sebastian, and of course Hancock just tries to use her love powers to turn him to stone, but he doesn't turn to stone.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because he's as blind as a bat.
And then Buggy shows up.
Fucking Buggy shows up. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of people showing up in this.
Yeah.
I
I like Mr. 3 and Buggy together. I also like Moji and Kabaji at several points throughout this throughout like the movie, gradually coming to the realization that just go with it, you know.
Yeah, I kind of like how they've known Buggy for a long time. They know he's full of shit. My first thought though was, where's Alvida?
It's a good question.
She was not in this at all. She wasn't even like, I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved, George.
Yeah.
This is nowhere to be found. Maybe she was sleeping.
Yeah.
And just when I thought that the cameos would end, what the hell is Perona doing here?
Well, we find out later, but she sort of puts the final touches on Sebastian as Luffy and
With her negative ghosts.
yeah, as Luffy and Hancock sort of finish him off.
But whoa. Luffy? You know another girl? Is this what they call cheating?
And by some
I thought that was funny. But then they go into these catacombs that are
It's
just
it was in first person and terrible CGI, and it was the only time in the in the movie that I thought I didn't like it.
but it was a bunch of tunnels made of cubes.
They didn't even do it for that long.
I wonder who made these. But they get separated. Luffy and Hancock, and Burndy shows up, and Burndy brings up that he couldn't save Ace, and that's pretty much like calling Marty McFly chicken.
Yeah.
Anytime you do that, Luffy just gets angry.
Although there was a little scene before that where he was talking about Garp. Right before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
He's like,
because I think he found out his name was Monkey D. Luffy because I think Bojack found out. Like,
yeah.
I know what I did like
the old man with the fists. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I like how Bojack couldn't figure out who Luffy was because he wasn't wearing his straw hat. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's like, so without the hat,
Yeah.
what is Luffy? That's totally not true. But
and now it's time for Luffy takes a beating from the main villain part 2.
Mm-hmm. But we also get a flashback where everyone looks exactly the same 30 years ago.
Oh, Sengoku has Garp has
No. They look different. I'm talking about Burndy's crew. Besides Nightshin, who obviously looks younger, they're all wearing the same exact clothes. I was like, I was saying, 30 years is a long freaking time. Like, for fuck's sake. This was one of the things that really angered me.
I didn't understand. I don't know. I didn't understand the bond between him and his crew. I didn't understand why he was a person who was worthy of. I don't know. I didn't like this guy. I didn't understand why people would be this devoted to him.
The thing is, though, there was no evidence yet that was not developed at this point.
Yeah.
And then we cut to, as the Marines, as Sengoku and Garp are going to take care of this, we get, not so fast. It's like, who are you? Cypher Pole. We'll be taking things over from here.
Government.
Like the freaking detectives episode of South Park, just comical FBI, just we'll take it from here. Like Cypher Pole just looking.
Hey, this is one of the better plans the world government's ever had, and it worked. It actually worked.
Pay off some pirate crew members to backstab Burndy, and then just go in and finish the job. Very evil. It's very classic, vaudevillain of the world government to do this. But Burndy gets shot, and then some agents come in to finish the job. And then his closest crewmates, the ones that matter, don't know what to do. And Bojack says, "We got to run away." if we want to survive, we got to run. And they're like, what about the captain? And Bojack's like, you want to live?
Yeah.
Which is, it is smart. I don't know if it's morally correct, but they would have just gotten their ass beat too. So, and then pretty much Burndy's like, wow, I have been betrayed.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get to.
Oh god! So yeah, we're gonna talk about this now. What's her name again? Fights Hancock.
Nightchin.
Nightchin fights Hancock, and we actually it starts off a little bit promising, where she's because Hancock believes that she is so beautiful, and she's trying to use the love beam on Nightchin, and she's like stuffing her face with bitter herbs to make herself like distract herself from how beautiful she is. But then she takes Okay, so we're serious. So first of all, she goes all Great Muda and puts like poison in her mouth and sprays it all over Hancock, and the poison dissolves. The poison dissolves her clothes, and then when she takes a youth potion. We have an old woman with an interesting design. Take a youth potion and become a generic One Piece character, and then her boobs make bouncy noises. Fuck this special. Oh god,
this is when
they're so jiggly.
I swear to God.
They're bigger than Hancock.
Going to this
and
fight,
those don't even make sense.
I was thinking, you know what? There hasn't been like any fan service yet. I'm proud of this special. It immediately went to hell here. First of all,
straight into the toilet.
What purpose did it serve burning holes on Hancock's clothes, like making her partially naked? Apparently Hancock doesn't wear anything underneath that dress. That was another thing that kind of disturbed me. But again, I guess the animators didn't want to sit around at the table all day trying to figure out what color underwear Hancock wears.
I'm sure they think about it a lot.
I just thought, oh my God, this wasn't necessary. And I thought, wow, they made a very interesting looking character who I thought it was my favorite new character in the special. Had great design, great animation, and then just, I'm young again and I got bouncy boobs. At least...
And they make noises. They make noises.
At least her animation, like I thought the expressions she made were still very interesting. She was still very crazy, but and the Hancock, then most of the time she's just running around holding her dress up, which I really thought, I'm like, if two women were fighting, they wouldn't care about seeing each other's boobs.
Yes.
So I got distracted by that, and then Hancock eventually tricks Nightchin. She
overcomes her with her beauty. I mean, the joke is funny at the end, but it wasn't worth what we had to go through to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. That's how Hancock was able to overcome her, just really pushing, like doing all her shtick she normally does, and eventually Nightchin succumbed to that. But not the highest moment of the special.
No, by far the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest part of the special by far. Then we get which originally was going to be Luffy versus Gyram, which was the cube guy.
Oh, we have Luffy waking up from being knocked out the last time by Buggy, who's apparently been slapping him the entire time. Because he starts slapping him before they do the Hancock fight.
But one thing I really liked here was I said, I really hope Luffy doesn't pay any mind to Buggy. Like, he doesn't even care who it is waking him up. He just wants to know where Burndy is. And that's exactly what they went with. And I like that. Because I didn't want it to be like, oh, Buggy, you're here. Where's Burndy? I thought it would have been awesome if Luffy just wakes up, doesn't give a shit about anything else other than Burndy. And I like that they went with that.
Yeah. Buggy continues to have the stupidest crew in the ocean as he fights Gyram.
Oh my God, all these the prisoners. I really like that all the prisoners just are making up all this shit. They're saying wow, he's letting Luffy go take down Burndy instead of taking him down himself. What a guy, what a friend. I honestly thought this was really good stuff. It wasn't like the Buggy and Mr. 3 filler of Impel Down. I thought it was very entertaining.
I like Buggy and Mr. 3 together. They're very sleazy together.
Yes.
They work. They have compatible personalities.
Mm-hmm. Though clearly Mr. 3 is the straight man in this couple.
Oh, God, yes, of course. I really have nothing to say about Buggy as the fight between Buggy and Gyram.
I wrote down Buggy versus Cube Guy. Here comes the filler, even though this is an original special.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that he was good because this guy was just I could cut anything into cubes. and he proceeded to hit the ground with his hammer, and it cut up to cubes. And then he hit Luffy with his hammer, and nothing happened. So I assume this only works on inanimate objects as well. But I almost thought that was going to happen is he was going to hit Buggy, and Buggy was going to break off into a bunch of cubes, but then still function because he's a chop man. But instead, he just got turned into one cube, and I thought the totem pole thing was kind of funny. How did he beat him, though? Now I've forgotten. I feel like it just happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Buggy actually did anything. I've forgotten already.
Oh, he was going to use a Muggy Ball, but everyone predicted it, so he had to think of something else.
Oh, and then it was... who showed up?
Then
Hancock.
Hancock showed up.
Yeah, Hancock
showed up, kicked him, he kind of did that kick, turn to stone thing, knocked him right out. The smoke cleared. All Buggy's crew think he did it.
Yep. And
Great ending.
Yeah, Moji and Kabaji learned to go with the flow.
You know what? For original content, I thought Buggy was written very well in this episode. And it makes me sad that we're doing the Sabo episode and not the Buggy episode. I think after watching this, I thought, like, wow, I think I would really enjoy doing an episode about Buggy.
We could at this point.
We could.
Eventually.
Maybe
and then we have a flashback about the villains, and it's too late to make me care about these villains. Oh, he was the sickly older brother, and he was the younger brother, and we have to go out to sea. I'm like, this is the most generic story.
The most generic story? Do you want to know what it's mimicking?
What is that?
Ace and Luffy.
Ah, good point.
It's doing the exact same thing that we saw in the beginning of the special. That's why they included it. You're not a fan of it. You're not on board with it.
Not really.
It's kind of weird, but on the opposite, this is when I really grasped it. I enjoyed Burndy. I really enjoyed the crew. I thought they had.
I don't understand how he became the pirate he eventually became. Like, he seems like a good guy here, and then when we see him doing pirate stuff, he's just sort of gradually getting more violent and more violent. And then I guess they sort of have differing philosophies, the older brother and him. But I don't see where it comes from, really.
I actually thought the flashback was very compelling. Like, I felt bad for Bojack. I felt like, oh, he's sick. He looks like hell for a kid his age. Yeah. And then Burndy said, like, hey, you know what? No, we're going to go out to sea together, and I'm going to help you out. I really like this. I thought this was really nice, and I think this is when I started to feel really sympathetic for these two. More so Bojack than Burndy. But I was kind of, I thought, like, wow, okay. I felt like these characters had some interesting roots, not just. He wasn't just Don Krieg, He has at least a connection with Bojack. But,
and I mean, Burndy wasn't a fully realized character in my opinion. But Bojack was a much better character. I liked him, but I didn't understand Burndy's motivations.
I really felt sympathetic for him, but I guess as it went on, they got older. I really like seeing the progression of them in age, and they met, Nightchin and Cube Guy and Sebastian, and I like seeing them kind of going to bars and drinking grog to fighting the Marines. And I think it was just the ongoing battles. I think that's what changed Burndy. I
guess, yeah.
I think just like him always having to fight off Marines, I think it just made him tougher, and then just made it less about the romance and the adventure and just more about just,
But then we get to the
Marine battleship. So I really like the flashback.
Then we get to the point where it's like he's seeking out the battles. I'm like, I still didn't really get it. So
I think just knowing that the world government was behind his downfall, I guess he just really wanted to get back at them.
I guess,
which I didn't think was that bad. But let's finish this up, shall we? Armament versus armament. What do you think about this?
It was pretty cool. They ended up rehashing movie 8 music, which I thought was really cool, and also End of Enies Lobby music. So we had it's like the exact same move, except he was using Armament Haki this time. Exact same move, exact same music, but it was animated really well, and the fight was a lot of fun, just visually to watch.
I thought Burndy looks awesome in in decked out in the all Haki. I just felt like the animation for this episode really, the animation for the special really accompanied Burndy's design very well, because sometimes it would get very rough and brushy, fit his design to a T. But it was a decent fight. Very brutal ending.
Oh, yeah. He gets impaled.
What was the point of that spike room again?
That's where he was holding the sisters.
Yeah. because I just didn't know why there was spikes on the walls unless the walls came in, which they didn't. But yeah, Luffy just punches him and then he just gets impaled on the spikes, and I thought like, wow, that was pretty brutal. But it's One Piece, so he'll be alive.
Yep. And then we get to the only reason Mihawk is here, really.
Well,
It felt like it was kind of a jip, you know. I wanted him to be in it more, but he's just that he's not that guy. So he's just going to be in it a little bit.
But the sisters escape. Luffy finishes fight, so he has no other reason to be there. Leaves. And then of course, it's practically like a buster call they're doing on this ship. So they're just attacking. Akainu is leading the charge. Bojack goes to Burndy's side, and Burndy, I was curious to see what was going to go on. I'm like, will Burndy change? Will he be, will he apologize? Will he start thinking about his crew? But he said like, no, I'm going to fire my big cannon anyway. You guys betrayed me. And it's like, then Bojack's like, how could you? It's like, you still thinking about that after 30 years? He's like, I was frozen. So that, to me, that was like yesterday.
I was frozen today.
Which I thought, well, that kind of makes sense. But I was thinking, like, I was really hoping for maybe some character development, but nah, he's dead set on just shooting his cannon. Yep. Which is kind of a entendre when you think about it.
Entendre.
So he goes to fire the cannon, and I think I think it's shot at, so it begins to kind of like tip over. So he holds it up and fires, and and that's when Mihawk comes in. Mihawk's like, "Well, time for me to do something," and he cuts the giant cannonball in half and just explodes in the air. And that was Burndy's. It was the last of his strength. And
Bucky gets all the credit.
Collapses, and well, this is when I thought it got really dark. I wasn't sure if Bojack was. No, I'm not sure if Burndy was dead at this point, but Bojack joins his side and says, let's start over. Let's go on an adventure. And I guess that meant they're dead. Well, then, because immediately cuts to the loud sound of the island exploding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his ship. It's his ship.
Yeah, the ship. That's sorry. It looks like an island. And I thought, wow, that's dark. I mean... But
yeah, I mean, it is surprisingly dark and brutal. This TV special, and I appreciate that
because that means Bojack's dead too, and I assume Sebastian, Cube Guy, and Nightchin are dead as well. Yeah, which is brutal when you think about it. It was sad. I felt really bad for Bojack. I didn't feel because Burndy really had no regrets. I didn't really feel bad for him. I thought it was kind of supposed to be like a sad kind of Film Zed moment for him when he was firing the cannon because they were playing.
You can't do that with such an unsympathetic character, though.
The score was playing, like the song they were playing was very somber, but I think the fact that he just didn't care and he was still sticking with his mission, that I couldn't feel sorry for him. I felt sorry for him after I saw the flashback, but yeah, because he didn't he didn't have any enlightening. I didn't care for him.
Yeah.
Credits start to roll as Luffy's back on the island, and Rayleigh says, "I have nothing else to teach you. What are you going to do?" And he says, "Well, I said 2 years. I got another half a year left, so I'm just going to stay here and train."
Yep. And we go into some credits, and then later on in the credits.
Then we go back to Shamini 2 years later, and we see the Straw Hats again meeting up. Reanimated. Thought it looked great. I mean, the scenes they picked weren't too dependent on a lot of animation, but they looked. They
nice. Had the Rosy Life Riders.
Oh yeah, with Brooke. I thought when they're on the ship and Luffy's kind of giving his speech, I thought they were. I like line weight. I don't like when the anime just is like the same thin line. It doesn't always have a lot of depth to it, but I thought the close-ups on these characters, it just looked fantastic. I really appreciated the animation for this episode. Yeah. Then let's go to Fishman Island, and then we cut to J-pop.
And then we get our final scene.
Yes, I forgot that they mentioned that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Sabo's alive.
Yeah, it's big spoilers for anyone who's only watching the anime.
I think at this point it was probably ruined.
But this is what we've been saying the entire time, and it's so nice to have it animated.
And you know what? he's going to be popping in the anime within the next, let's say, few months.
Yeah.
Might as well just show it here. Mm-hmm. Well, then again, it doesn't say anything. It's not like Saba's there and he says, now on to Dressrosa, you know? So it could be like, oh, hey, Saba's alive, but you don't know when he's showing up. But if anything, there's probably going to be a new anime intro that will spoil it for you. But, okay, overall thoughts.
It was entertaining enough. It was really long, and I didn't care for the villain as much, but the fights were fun, except for the one that we talked about.
I thought it had a potential to be very Zoro versus Dr. Indigo from Strong World like, but no.
Yeah. No, and the character moments, I liked. Hancock was good in it.
Yes.
Buggy was great in it. Mm-hmm. Buggy and Mr. 3 own the show. Lots of good little stuff with the Navy. Flashbacks and characters who don't get to talk to each other, talking to each other in this special, and I really enjoyed that. So there's a lot to enjoy here, but overall, I wouldn't watch it again.
I really, really liked it.
I give it a solid B.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the animation was great. I thought the villain designs were cool. I mean, I thought Burndy had potential, but I guess the fact that he just stuck with his guns, I didn't really care for him as much. But I felt like this was a nice, solid shonen little movie. When you notice it wasn't very intricate in its plot. It was just very shonen. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that sometimes. And I think with how plot heavy One Piece has gotten, I thought this was very refreshing.
And I think there was a way to do that in under 90 minutes.
Yeah, I felt like some things could have been cut. I think just going over how he met, when the other members decided to join the crew and all that wasn't necessary as much as it was fun. But you know what? I had the time to watch it.
Yeah.
I honestly think I'd watch this again.
I'm not sure about that, but I did enjoy at least some of a lot of the parts actually when I was watching.
I think a lot of the characters were written very well. I don't think any of them acted out of character. I was very happy to see Luffy and Hancock get more time together because I honestly don't see those two teaming up.
Yeah.
Again, like that. Buggy and Mr. 3, everything involved with Buggy was great. It was hysterical. It was just great to see any of the pre-existing characters show up. I thought they all did some cool stuff. I just really enjoyed it. I really did. I thought if it looked like episode of Mary, I would have enjoyed it half as much. I think a lot of it had to do with the look. I think the animation was great, and I didn't think it was that bad. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorite TV specials because I haven't seen many of them, but I thought this was solid.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the earlier TV specials tended to be. It's a lot more, in the early One Piece, it's more cartoony rather than what this is. It's sort of like a fighting sort of.
I thought this was
siege.
much better. I thought this was much better than the filler arc we had before Dressrosa. This was so much better.
Oh, that! Oh my God, I forgot about that.
With
yes, this is much better.
Reed.
This is much
better than that.
This is much better than that. Yeah, I would have taken this split up into episodes over that any day of the week. That was terrible.
So with Ed's opinion and my opinion, we're completely even. So it's up to you to judge.
Yeah, it's not. This isn't saying I didn't like it. I liked lots of it, lots of parts of it. You just liked it more than I did.
I think I liked it more than you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't know. People, let us know what you thought of it. Piece the tweet to us or whatever it is that we do.
Totally.
All right, let's get to the next segment.
Okay.
Today's episode of the Unofficial One Piece podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. You could go to kolektakon.com/onepiece. So, what looks good to you at Kolektakon right now? Ed, Steve?
I always suggest characters who wield swords, and so for pre-order we have Admiral Fujitora and Dracula Mihawk, and I think I say Mihawk just about every week. We do one of these, and I continue to reiterate it, so people should continue to buy the Mihawk POP.
I never noticed how much you like characters with swords.
I just realized it myself.
Yeah, so you got Zoro. Law has a sword. He doesn't use it that often, but he has one.
Zoro, they still have the Edition Z Zoro POP. You can get that.
That's a really, really cool one. Kaku has a sword, right? Does he have it in this POP?
He
he
is
comes with
unfortunately sold out though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I got everyone's hopes up there.
Very misleading.
Steve, anything you like?
I recommend Toy Soldier, because Soldier-san is always at your side.
And I also
And he can be at your side if you buy him at Kolektakon.
I also suggest purchasing Nico Robin and Rebecca together, and you can be sad all day long.
Speaking of, there are some limited edition ones for pre-order that includes the Nico Robin and the Hancock. Are both available for pre-order, but are limited. And as we know, in Japan, limited actually means limited. So go get those if you want those right away. Steve, you were going to say? No? You were done? Ed, you were done?
I think I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, so go to Kolektakon.com/One Piece to get your One Piece Mega House merchandise. They also have a lot of other cool series. If for some reason you don't want to get a One Piece figure, check them all out at Kolektakon.com or at blog.kolektakon.com. I think that's it, so why don't we get right back into the podcast. This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories and then go through them. Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Just go over them. Okay, very interesting. All right, moving on.
Through them.
Also interesting.
Okay.
I shut across her nose, not at it.
Okay, here we go. Let's start on
Make this
Reddit.
man a host.
Typeset asks us about Volume 75 in the SBS. We will probably be doing that next week, if not next week, the week after. It's whenever Steven's able to get his hands on Volume 75, which in the United States isn't quite as superfluously available as it is in Japan.
That's what work.
No,
I
it's,
don't
I
think
mean,
superfluous is the word you're looking for there, Zach.
no, prolifically available. Like it's just everywhere. Like
Superfluous means extraneous.
That word you're saying.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it doesn't really work.
And he also asks where Leo is currently, and he is going to get Princess Moncheri in the palace.
Yes, we don't know where exactly he is, but he is en route in that direction.
Because they split off from Rebecca, you know.
He also asks.
He made 3 different posts for that.
Yeah, you could do this third one too.
Okay. Is it possible for a blind person to have observation Haki, or a person who lost a leg to harden their missing limb with Haki? Phantom Haki? Well, I think it's pretty clear that a blind person can have Haki. So.
Can or can't? I can't.
Can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the point. You're not supposed to use your eyes.
But not everyone is Kuzan. You can't just make like a hockey leg, because hockey is kind of just it's your body. So I mean, you can have like a nice rock hard stub, but
What about a hockey stick?
but no, not like Kuzan thing is he could create ice. So even though I think Oda said that the ice is like actually an extension of his body. I don't know. Well, no, definitely not hockey.
Okay, next question. Fordanium says, will Dressrosa have a second opening theme, or will it just use the same one until the arc wraps up? Wow. That'd be like a 2-year-long opening at least.
I think because
It's been 38. It's been 38 episodes already for this one, so
really?
it's on its way out.
I've skipped it every time because I'm sorry, I am not a fan of this opening.
I enjoy it.
I don't like this
I'm
one.
sorry.
No, it's been 30 episodes, so it's going to be out in the next 2 months probably.
I think because
Last one lasted 30. It lasted 38.
This year being the 15th anniversary of the anime, I think they want to keep it around just for like a little bit longer. I wouldn't be surprised if it lasts the end of the year, but I kind of have to side with Ed. I think it's got like maybe another 2 months.
Yeah, I see a new one starting in like January, maybe.
Because there's so much like the stuff that's going on in the opening, the Dressrosa stuff
Zach,
now could become very outdated.
Zach, think about this: if this song were to last until January, like mid-January, that would be almost 50 episodes in this opening. Most, unless they're like...
Yeah, but as you said, I forgot I think it was you, Ed, who said it's the 15th anniversary one. And also that would be around the time that we were talking about what happens to Law, which is kind of where things shift, because that's also where you get the big reveal of the Mr. Cravat. So I think that's a really good place, actually, to switch things up. Maybe. But you are right. That would be 50, which I think we only had with We Go and Believe.
Believe, yeah.
Jesus, Believe.
Like a lot of songs don't last more than 35 episodes. So, yeah, 33 episodes.
So soon, then I'm fine with getting a new one. What are your guys' thoughts on this one now that it's been around for a little while? I should probably ask.
I always skip it.
Yeah, me too.
It's so long, and the song is okay, but the visuals just kind of like I don't like them. I think that the 15th anniversary costumes are really dumb looking.
I agree.
It's not like I think they're dumb looking. It's that I think some of them are just like weirdly colored. Like I don't know. It's like taking the film Zed costumes and making them dumb looking. I don't know. Dumb.
Well said.
I will admit they're not designed as well as the film Zed costumes. I don't have too much of a problem with it. I think really Frankie's is the only one I really, really like, and I think that's because of his dreadlocks.
The only reason I like is because of the dreadlocks. Everything else is just like everybody's just like one color.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't.
But different shades of that color.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not too crazy about like. I guess when I watch it, I just think of how lazy the animation is when Brooke comes on and he's just twirling his little thingy, his coat, that really long coat, and it just looks like lazy animation. And like, wow, even the animation for the opening's lazy now. Like, I don't know. You know me, I'm a big anime hater.
I like the song. I enjoy it. I feel like it's very energetic. I think it really kind of gets me into the episode. The animation is really nothing to write home about. I think once it gets into like the last part of it, when it gets into this is what's going on in the current arc, I think that accompanies the music very well. It's very exciting, but I don't know. I find myself always getting used to the openings. There's never really been an opening where I was like, except for opening 12. That came that happened, and then I kind of just like, well, it'll be done eventually.
Next question, yeah. Unless you want to do it, Ed.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Will Usopp ever use a real gun if he hasn't done so already? And
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's just too dark. I kind of forgot that we're in One Piece.
Well, there's Ben Beckman.
His father uses a gun.
Father, that's true.
Sorry, I kind of.
Come on.
Oh, I meant to bring up Yasip as well. Go ahead.
But I cut you off right before you were about to finish this nice person's question.
Me too.
Do you think Usopp will ever get to shoot bullets with Haki, sort of like the Kuja tribe and their bows and arrows? Or was that particular to their tribe? I know Usopp just gained one Haki, but his character is easy to root for. I can't help but get excited for his development. Thoughts on that?
I should just add that when you mentioned Usopp and gun, I kind of forgot we're in One Piece where a bunch of people use guns, and I'm thinking he just has a handgun, and he's just some like really poorly written vigilante, like Shadow the Hedgehog style, just going around. Oh, where's that damn sugar?
Well, guns don't.
Hero, butthead. I don't know.
Guns don't do anything in One Piece. That's the thing we have learned time
after time. You do not want to have a gun. Guns are shit.
Yeah. The fact that he's using a slingshot means he's doing something right.
Guns are to toy with people.
The only person who ever killed anyone with a gun is Lucky Roo.
No, Arlong.
Arlong.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you count that as the dungeon, in which case you were correct, Ed.
No, because 4Kids dub is done, Zach. Get over it.
But
fun.
I mean, one time it didn't work is in Ohara when someone was getting shot right before they were going to say the name of the ancient kingdom.
The gun. The name of the old kingdom is Ow. Well, I guess we better get out of here.
The
that
name
hurts
of the
slightly.
old kingdom is Ow.
You finally revealed it to me, Steve. Thank you. Next question. Duperco says, now that we pretty much have confirmation that Haki can be specialized to a person's traits, Usopp's ability to see auras from far away is due to them being a sniper. That might be a chicken and the egg kind of thing we're going through there, or correlation and causation. But anyway, do you think other Straw Hats might get this specialized kind of Haki as well?
Oh my god. The first thing that popped in my head is the grossest and dumbest thing.
Care to share it with the
Yeah,
class?
you have to say it now. You can't just say that and
How can I put this and not just be completely vulgar about
you
it?
can't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's do it.
Well, if the Straw Hats each had like one of the like 3 different variations of Haki to cater to their abilities, what they're known as, then the first thing I thought of was Sanji would get armament Haki, and his dick, so his dick could get hard.
Why did your mind go there?
Because Sanji's a horn dog.
Or maybe it's
I think-
you who's the horn
Well, no,
dog.
but doesn't he have? He has hockey.
He does.
Yeah, Sanji does. Yeah.
Is it observation or armament? I forget which is.
Oh wait,
Okay.
no, he doesn't have armament.
I know.
No, he
Observation.
has yeah, I think he has observation.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because he likes to peep.
I don't think that has to
You know,
do
that's a
with it.
more PG way of what I thought.
Yeah,
I guess I'm just messed up and I'm all like
yeah.
penises.
Save it. Save it for 20 minutes of bullshit.
Save it for the SBS.
Remember when we used to have After Dark when like, oh, that's when we'll be vulgar.
No, we just
Ed,
do it all
do you have
the
any ideas for something like that?
Nope.
Okay.
time.
Since
See, I just ruined it with my one shitty idea.
Typeset said, kind of touched upon what we were going through. What is the significance of the lead bullets? Is it because they're softer metal or because they are toxic? I did go back and while we were doing the chapter to see if he said anything about it being sea stone bullets, and as far as I could tell, no, he did not. He just took out a gun and shot him.
Yeah, I honestly think it's just to mess with him, because he could have. I'm sure Doflamingo has access to sea stone bullets. Like he totally could have just, really killed Law, and instead he decided, no, I'm just gonna mess around with you because I'm a dick.
And you could even see it in his face. And we kind of talked about this too. He was in the middle of the town at the time. He was still trying to show how awesome he is, and he's not going to use it. And he doesn't want to show his power, presumably, at that point in time.
Don Quixote Dick Flamingo.
Well said.
Someone's pitching a title.
That's not the only thing I'm pitching.
I knew that was happening.
Oh, God. Anyway, Ed, do you want to do the next one?
Which one's the next one? I think we're going in a different order.
Dubiono?
Sure. Did you guys notice in the new special that World's Brothers medical bags had the same symbol as Whitebeard's? Do you
Yes.
think this symbol will play a more prominent role in the future? If so, what could it mean?
I hope so.
I didn't think about it that much. I didn't notice, so maybe.
Well, so the symbol on their bags, I remember looking this up a while back, and it sort of resembles Law's mark a bit, except it's upside down. It doesn't have like the the dealy boppers on the side. I feel like perhaps, it might be Corazon's mark, and the reason I think this. It goes back to my theory of Corazon being usurped by Doflamingo. Doflamingo's mark is essentially that like smiley face with a cross through it. That smiley face with the little things on the side is Law's mark, and Law loves Corazon, or he had a huge impact on him. And if you look on the back of Law's jacket that he's currently wearing, it has Corazon's pirate mark on it, which is that smiley face. And if that smiley face is upside down, that just means the bag is upside down, and I think that Corazon was like some sort of a medical genius.
Well, the bag being upside down is just a medical bag, so it's right side up, and you put it upside down so the IV could go through. So it's not actually upside down.
No, that's what I'm. Well, I don't know.
I think the symbol.
That's my crackpot theory.
I think the symbol is. I wouldn't be surprised if it were Doflamingo, only because how do pirates get medical equipment through the black market? One would assume. So I think 2 and 2 fit together well there. I don't. Your theory could be correct as well, though, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah. I mean, who knows at this point? We're just guessing. Stoke Shore says, "How do you feel about Oda?" Oh no, that is. Well, let's debunk this here since it's been going around. Oda revealing the ending of One Piece to a boy who has cancer. We're sorry, but that is false.
That website is full of. Don't believe anything from kdramastars.com. Don't bother.
As
I mean, that
I've
should
grown
be
older,
relatively-
every time I see something pop in like my news feed, like, oh my god, this is crazy, or this is so interesting, I look at the website, and if it's not like, if it's not like, let's just go with the anime and manga stuff. If it's not ANN reporting this, I'm like,
Yeah, like if it's some crackpot website, like I don't know,
Like when Ghibli was closing down.
Hey,
What's the website you said, dude?
OnePiecePodcast.com. Because that's not Ant-Man.
I mean, we won't post something as well unless it goes through a rigorous. Yeah. Because William,
We fact check.
William and Adil and I and Laura, we all go through and make sure, is this real? And this came,
Hey,
through.
Zach, season 4 is happening. Wink.
Well, that was way before we actually did real news also. And that was a long story. Anyway, next question.
Zach, providing vague context, as I say.
One Piece Podcast is infallible. Just kidding.
Tracker OC says, manga request. I very much want to see a doll for every Straw Hat. Basically, derp.
Well, you won't.
He says basically derp versions of the Jolly Rogers. I don't even quite understand what that means.
You mean
Like the Usopp's doll in this chapter.
Or you mean like a toy based off of the designs of their Jolly Roger?
Did he say derp versions?
Yes,
He said derp.
Yeah.
As in Mr. Derp. Derp.
Derp. Well, I got white stuff and yellow stuff.
Rob Schneider, derpty der.
It's the
Derpty,
20
derpy,
seconds
derpy, derp.
of bullshit segment on the One Piece podcast.
There's our shameless plug.
I said 20 seconds. It's like the next.
Question for Steve: has God Usopp redeemed himself in your eyes?
Oh yeah. But now it's kind of, we talked about it again, how losing the memory of Robin really could have affected Usopp and made him run away. Now it's like, did I have a right to be pissed off? Who knows?
I think you were being prematurely harsh on the manga in that situation.
Yeah.
Like-
That's not the only thing he does that's premature, honk honk.
What's with all these jokes today?
I don't know. I'm feeling it.
Okay.
Stop doing this gag.
Gag. This is how I talk in real life.
Two more questions left.
Reference in here.
I'll do this one, Ed, since you're going to be answering it. You could do the last one. From Zoro's Pride. Before we start, 2 people here have seen a 3D 2Y. I will be watching it this week, but I've had a very busy weekend. So here we go. Not sure if you guys will devote an entire segment to it. We did. But if not, I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on 3D 2Y? And let's be a little more specific here, since you guys are going to talk about it. He ranks it as number 2 among the specials of episode of Nami. I don't know how many specials you've gotten a chance to see.
Like, what specials were we including?
Nothing can beat the Detective Adventures of Chief Straw Hat Luffy. That is by far the best special episode.
Are we
There's no
including
argument.
the specials from like the 90s?
Yes,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Yeah, because the 3 TV specials.
Which
plus-
I saw like, I think the first one was with he was a pre-Brook. He was a skeleton bad guy.
Yeah.
I think that,
Captain Joke.
Adventure in
The Ocean's Naval.
yeah.
yeah, wasn't there
I forget-
one where
I forget the
they
second
put
one was
on a
the-
stage show? I didn't.
That was
see
the third one. That was
The third was
one.
Lost Station. The second one was the conductor guy. He
I
had
did
like
not see that.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any of these.
I've seen all of these. I haven't seen the. I saw them years ago.
yeah. Do you remember that one though? The conductor guy, and
No,
he
I
had
don't
like
remember that one.
there was a kid, obviously a little kid, and
They did a special with the Water 7 conductor guys.
no.
What do we call them again?
Stevie and Bouchon.
Bouchon?
That's their freaking names. Zach.
Stevie? His actual name is Stevie?
His name is Stevie.
His name is Toby. Like a conductor, like a music conductor. He had a ship that had like these giant horns. That's all I remember. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it since college.
All
It
right,
was
well,
a long
then
time ago.
putting this into the general
That's a
question.
long time, people.
It is a long time. Well, I think he might have meant like the episode of specials, like episode of Nami,
did,
episode of
yeah.
Mary, episode of Luffy. Out of those, I thought episode of Nami was the best one out of the bunch, and I didn't even watch all of the other ones. They were just the episode of Mary one. I tried watching; it was just too shitty.
Episode of Mary wasn't awful. I watched
I
probably
haven't
half
seen
of
it.
that.
The animation has put me off, though.
I mean, it's that movie
I think
7.
I think I said on last week, I don't like One Piece being so super freaking rendered. It's cartoony. Don't try to,
Make
give the
it not,
characters so much definition in their features. Wasn't there like another one, Hand Island or whatever?
That
That's
came-
the episode
that
of
was-
Luffy.
That's episode of Luffy. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Neither have I.
No, I haven't seen that one either. That one.
I mean, I have some negative things to say about this special.
And he did.
I enjoyed it.
His podcast on the previous segment.
Yeah, that's right.
We record these in order.
No, but it was entertaining. I have issues with the villains.
Okay. I guess a more relevant question or probably a more difficult question is, where would you put them in the movies? Like, top tier, middle tier, lower tier?
It's not as, I mean...
I'd say middle.
Yeah, it's in the middle. I mean, by all means, this movie should have been an hour and 15 minutes long as opposed to an hour and 47 minutes long. This movie did not need to be an hour and 47 minutes.
I was surprised it was so long.
Yeah, it was really long.
I mean, I also want to talk about it since Zoro's Pride mentions it. What did you guys think when we heard that Funimation actually got the rights to simulcast this, and Crunchyroll as well?
To be honest, Zach, I was surprised.
People were excited about it and they wanted it, and Funimation was able to make it happen. So I was very happy.
Yeah, no,
to be completely honest, I was just going in like, we're not getting it, so.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, Funimation's getting it. I'm like, oh.
I gotta watch it now.
I think I'm kind of excited now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watch it.
I'm gonna be watching it this week. I hope to talk about it. Dude, you were gonna say something, right? Or no?
No, I wasn't.
No.
Nope.
I think I'm just maybe a little too nice. Where I'm thankful we got the special, so maybe that's why I can't complain about it too much. But
No, there's a difference between thankful and a difference and being critical. Like,
as a loyal fan, I feel like they owe me.
That's more entitlement, right? But you could have criticism. Ed, you want to do the last one?
Sure. The last question comes from My Name is Asac Schrader, who asks, steak and salad time, since I know you guys don't dread this topic at all. If Luffy was turned to a toy, do you think Shanks would forget how he lost his arm? Or do you think all the Straw Hats would wonder why they were called Straw Hats? Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes to all those questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a preposterous or broken power. We'd have to consider all these questions if Luffy actually did get turned. It's part of the reason why he probably was never going to get turned in the first place, and I was silly to believe that.
Yeah.
Hey Shanks, how'd you lose your arm? That's a really good question. I have no idea.
Oh man,
that's a good one. Okay, it's time for some emails. Let's start with Oliver. He says he has a couple of ideas to share. First, the other week someone asked you about the theory that Doflamingo's crew is made up of former slaves. I think Doflamingo's flag is evidence that this is true. We saw in the Sun Pirates flashback that slaves belonging to the Celestial Dragons were forced to smile continuously or be punished. Perhaps Doflamingo crossed out the smiley flag represents that these former slaves are no longer forced to smile all the time.
Whoa.
But the whole problem I have here is then why did he have the slave auction still?
Yeah, that's kind of a hole in that theory.
Interesting. I wonder if that'll get tied all together in this
The whole
ending flashback.
I think people have said this before is I don't know if Doflamingo is going to get beaten here because, and I do not mean to make any puns here, but there's so many loose strings and still open here that I don't know if it could end here or if Doflamingo could end here because there's just so much more to go through with this character. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. He also says, I think Kyros and Rebecca will fight together, as the song indicates. Kyros seems to have a very aggressive fighting style in contrast to Rebecca's, which is very defensive. So when fighting Diamante, Kyros will be on the attack, while Rebecca keeps him safe, perhaps compensating for him not being used to a human body with only one leg. Thanks, Oliver. What do you guys think of those?
I don't know. He's been kicking ass and taking names with only one leg since he got turned back into a soul, like a human. So, yeah, I don't know.
All right. Any other thoughts on that? Yeah. Braden says, "Hey guys, I have a horrible theory for your enjoyment again."
All
Perfect. So since someone reminded me of the catfish being related to Alabasta, oh good, we're going through the cover story stuff here. I think that Jinbei will. It's Steve's favorite topic. I think that Jinbei will end up having to go there, at which point he will meet Vivi. They will in turn decide to make their own crew as the two sort of straw hats that aren't with the crew and be called the almost straw hats. This sounds like a really bad spin-off. They will then sail the seas collecting crew members comprised of all the people Luffy...
It's just called Two Brothers.
I like where this goes, though. They will then sail the seas collecting crew members comprised of all the people Luffy asked to join the crew but didn't.
Like Gaimon and Iceberg.
And that guy, that zombie guy... What was it?
The tree from Thriller Bark.
That was the tree. That was it. They even end up with their own fanboy named Tarbalomeo. Eventually reaching the New World in search of the two-piece left by Silver D. Raleigh. He's revealed to have the will of D, but we never find out what it is.
Sounds like an SBS question.
The two-piece, this does. The two-piece is revealed to be the lost history, but they don't reveal it because there aren't enough main characters, so we don't see them, and we never learn the history, the end. Also, one quick comment. I'm pretty convinced that Sugar was brought back purely for this joke to happen again. With that, it was highly entertaining and makes the first time it happened seem a little less Deus Ex Machina. Does anyone else kind of think that's the case here?
Yes.
And the two-piece idea, I would read that.
That's a good stupid theory.
I would... If people say, "Oh, abridged ideas for One Piece," although people don't say that anymore because those aren't really around anymore. But if someone has the drawing and animating ability, I'd watch that purely as a satirical piece.
Hint, hint, Steve, get cracking.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, sure. Let me just work for free.
I wasn't.
I'd buy
that. This is Admiral Sato, who is crossing his fingers that Greg will be here to answer this question, but he's still a busy man. So he asks, what has the broadcast timeline for One Piece been airing in Japan? For example, did the anime start airing on Friday nights at 8 p.m. when it began, then years later to Saturday mornings at 11 a.m.? To what time does it air today in Japan? I could only answer two of those. I don't know. Do you guys know a greater history of this?
All I want to say is that I hope that you're going to win a bet by getting this information.
Why? Because it's so specific?
It's so specific.
If Greg is listening and has the time and wants to, he could send in the answer to that, because the only two I know, I don't even know the exact times. I know today, I believe it airs at 8 in the morning on Saturdays.
Yeah, or Sundays, I thought.
Sundays.
Yeah, but it used to air on Saturday nights.
Yeah. Or Friday. No, I think it was like Thursday nights.
Like Thursdays.
Yeah.
But it was at night, though.
Yeah, it was at night. It was prime time. It was like a very good time. Yeah.
One Piece is the Simpsons of Japan, which is why we make so many Simpsons references.
Now it makes sense, right?
Mind blown.
Just like the Simpsons.
Shut up, Steve.
Okay, everyone, it's time for your favorite segment. It's time for...
Praise the tweet! Yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
All right. First question in Piece of Tweet this week comes from Felta Kanto, who asks, Whitebeard mentions when Blackbeard shot him that someone will carry on Ace's will. Do you think it's Sabo with the flame fruit? I think he was speaking more broadly than that, but in a very narrow sense, yes, that is correct.
Cool.
Yeah. Alex James asks, if you could have devil fruit swap between two characters, what would the characters do with the other one's fruit?
Ooh. So why don't I just do an example?
I think a better question would just be like you giving me two characters that ate devil fruits.
Luffy and Brook. Wait, that makes no sense.
Yeah. No.
Luffy and Robin.
Brook wouldn't exist. Brook would be dead.
It's the first one that popped into my head.
There'd be no Brook.
Luffy and Robin.
And Luffy would just like, I don't know.
Luffy would just use it to like put antlers on his head and be stupid.
And steal food.
Yeah, I think that's more
He'd
accurate.
still be stealing food. Like,
what would Robin do, though?
Robin would be stretchy. I don't know.
She wouldn't have to
wouldn't
worry
be
about
as
getting rolled
powerful.
over by giant boulders as an archaeologist.
That's true. Yeah, Luffy would
it's a
have
major
lot of
hazard.
Yeah,
Luffy would have had a lot of the same attacks, like giant hand, giant foot, giant penis.
you forgot to from Milos, the creator here. First, pick a side, Bartolomendish or Team Reb Robin.
Reb Robin.
Why not both?
Yum.
Sounds like a very delicious Ben and Jerry's flavor.
Bartolomendish, because Bartolomeo's on it.
Good answer. Ed, you could continue. Sorry.
Okie dokie. R.L. Smith asks, Usopp has Montraki apparently, but why didn't Law recognize Sugar as a threat immediately? And we talked about this in the manga recap.
Good call back to Montraki, though.
Good call back to the manga recap. Let's go on to the next one.
Sora Tsuyuya asks, Usopp has gained his 4th boost of awesome and a real power like Haki. Yes, he has.
What were the other 3 boosts?
I think he was referring.
The
she was
actual
referring
boost.
to the actual shot, the projectile. It had boosts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That settles that. Ed.
The Jobless asks, "What do you guys think, Luffy? What do you guys think? Can Luffy and Law take? Hold on. Okay.
What do you guys think?
Can Luffy and Law take on Treble and Dofi? I think not. Dofi, when serious, can win.
Yes. I think that Dofi will lose.
More punctuation.
Yeah.
More punctuation, and I think most questions should be read simultaneously if possible.
Abigail Carvajal asks, Usopp is boss. Everyone completely satisfied or what? So can't wait for Luffy and Law to kick Doflamingo's butt. Yes, I agree with that sentiment.
You also skipped an important question from Colton, who says the Ara Wiggum pirates should have been the name of the fake Straw Hats from Shawbody. Yes.
What the hell's Ara Wiggum?
You don't remember? We did this last week, right?
Yeah.
That was a week
It's
ago.
Mugiwara backwards.
Arwigum. Oh my god! Like.
Oh yeah, from the color spread.
Yeah, like Chief Wiggum.
Yeah. And he called me Ara Wiggum.
Gamu Gamu no. Sit down.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One Piece at a Time asks, it is obvious that Usopp has observation Haki. How do you think it will be used with his current abilities?
I can guess that he'll be able to shoot people very far away.
Like you.
I agree.
Yeah, I also agree.
Illusion Devil Fruit asks, does it really annoy you? No matter what, no matter how talented Oda is, he refuses to draw different female characters? Is it his biggest flaw?
Yeah.
I've complained about this many times.
There are 2 different kinds of female characters. There's many kinds of female characters.
There's like 4.
There's many different kinds of unattractive female characters, and one kind of attractive female character. He doesn't.
Two technically. Robin has a Robin nose.
Yes, that's true.
Nobody else has that nose.
No, but
Viola kind of has that nose a little.
Yeah.
No, Viola has that face. She doesn't have
I think
that nose.
Robin wasn't originally planned to be part of the crew. So I think Oda's like, I think I'm going to have Miss All Sun to join the crew. Oh, she's got that nose. Why did I give her that nose?
I think it is his biggest flaw, but again, we're all pretty big fans of Oda here, so that's.
I think it's whatever.
it is a big problem.
It is, yeah.
I've gotten used to it after like 15 years. It's whatever. It's
I'm. Who cares?
And
Really?
I feel like recently, I think with Dressrosa, I was like, oh, come on. I think when Rebecca first showed up, I'm like, she looks like Nami.
And Viola.
and then
does look like
we
Nami.
can also talk about the bullshit fight that happened in the special this week.
Well,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
just
That's
to
not
talk.
Oda's fault, though. That's not Oda's fault.
We've already talked about that though.
But with Rebecca and Nami, that's why Nami left, so you weren't confused. I assume that's the reasoning.
No, she was still around.
Well, no, Nami. I mean, she's gone to Zoe, and Rebecca's here. So now we.
Well,
can't
no.
be
We
confused.
If
know
Rebecca
it's
and
One
Nami
Piece, so they have
stood next to each
swap
other,
the-
you couldn't tell them apart.
No.
That's not true. They have different hair.
In black and white, yes.
And one wear. Oh no, wait. They both wear like the same thing. One is gold and one isn't.
One wears jeans.
Sometimes.
Sometimes she wears booty shorts.
Go ahead, Ed.
William asks, what kind of Haki do you think would be best suit the OPP staff should you ever awaken it?
Oh, so we gotta go one by one here, I guess. Should we do the people who aren't here or the people who are here?
Oh man, I think we
It'd be
should
funnier to talk shit about the people that aren't here.
Who are listening to this?
Well, Greg obviously would have observation hockey.
Yes.
You don't think Conquerors?
No.
No.
I don't think any of us would have Conqueror's hockey.
Jesus Christ. Did you not watch Hokotate?
Yeah, but you haven't seen him walk through Japan. Everyone faints. I'm not kidding. So I'd say you'd have both of those.
Oh, so hard boiled.
I'd say he has both of those.
So American.
What about Steven? I guess observation also, right?
Well, I guess Greg would have. If Greg has Conquerors, then Steven would have observation hockey.
Well, there's going to be overlap. There's only 3 types, and there's like 10 of us.
Yeah, like we all have observation hockey.
Well, who has armament hockey in our crew, then, I guess, is the thing to ask.
I think Steve does.
Yeah, I was going to say Steve.
I guess I'm the gruntiest.
Well, also the drawing, to draw. You need to.
I wish I had Conqueror's hockey. You just walk into court and be like, meh.
Yeah, I think Ed would probably have
so
I think you'd have
pencils.
armament hockey, Ed.
All right.
If I had to give you one, you have the arms for it. You have I don't know, people can't really see Ed, but you have big forearms.
Yeah, bowling. Yeah.
Exactly. So well, there you go. Armament hockey bowling.
Yeah.
Coming soon to
awesome.
nothing.
Coming soon to the Wii.
Now, was it armament hockey that, or not armament? Was it the Conqueror's hockey that also made Luffy just attracted to so many people, attractive to so many people? And by
I think that's a
attractive,
separate
I mean,
thing completely.
just his charisma.
Yeah.
Although it might be related to the animal thing, right? Isn't that or is that observation?
No, but
The animal thing's related somehow, right?
Ivankov was talking about
talk with the animals.
No, but Ivankov was
Wiggum
talking
this week.
in Marineford about how Luffy has an uncanny ability to just rally people around him.
I think it's just his personality.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think that's a hockey related thing.
No.
As far as we know.
That's a midichlorian's explanation for everything. It's like, do you think Luffy's ambitious because he has hockey? It's like, no,
his Conqueror's hockey. Cocky. Jesus.
Cocky little freak.
Freaks. We need to finish this segment.
Yes, we do.
Zach, you would have armament hockey for some reason.
Thank you. Yes.
I think Zach would have Conqueror's hockey. He's the leader of this podcast.
Steve doesn't like that.
You would
No,
say
I said you got to have something.
Yeah, I mean, I think for at least the 4 of us in this room, maybe I like Ed as the
4
only
of us
one
in this room. We are not in the same room.
Don't destroy the illusion, Steve. No, I
destroyed when we talk over each other and don't realize it till a second later.
In all honesty, I mean, seeing any of us with hockey is kind of ridiculous in general, so it's kind of taking the leap of faith. Ed, what's the next question?
Hey.
Oh, dude, do you want? Oh, what about dude? Yeah.
Yeah.
Observation.
All right, good answer.
I feel like it fits with the music for some reason.
Yeah, but I'm not like a musician. I pretend that I.
Exactly, it fits with your pretend music.
I think he's observative.
Or your improvisational skills.
Sure, that has to do with observation. Well, kind of.
Kinda, yeah. Just being able to predict what happens next and when someone's talking or doing something. Ed, keep going. We have a few more.
Okay. Next question comes from Huntress Fan. Last week, when Steven said he was feeling friendship, effort, and victory, was he describing this week's chapter?
I don't know, but I'll say yes.
Yeah.
It fits. Those 3 things fit.
Maybe.
Catherine Bush asks, do you see any other Straw Hats getting hockey? Man, people really hung up on hockey this week.
Yeah, people really like hockey. And I think there's 5 more questions about hockey after
Well,
this.
it's also the entire point of the special was to talk about, it was a parable about hockey, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The special kind of goes hand in hand with this week's chapter.
Yeah. And Danny Newman asks, who do you think will be the next person to unlock hockey? And Senor Law asks, do you guys think that we'll get to see Law using hockey during his fight against Doflamingo?
Might as well get the rest of these out of the way.
Stop
right
it with
now.
the hockey.
First question. I mean, I think as the Straw Hats get stronger, I mean, there are certain kinds of hockey that I think suit. Maybe Frankie could get armament hockey. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, no, I think that works very well. Yeah.
I don't see the point, though. He's already made of armor.
I think it works well if he could do it in projectiles and stuff that he throws. Or what was it? Projectiles?
Yeah, projectiles. It's not a weird way to say that.
It really is.
It is a little weird.
And they do got a point, Ed. It is kind of weird.
You guys.
I think we have one more non-hockey related question.
Jared Sanchez asks, what would happen if a devil fruit fell into the ocean?
Nobody would get it except for fishmen.
Well, I think that's Vanderdecken answers that question.
Or,
Unfortunately, we have to remember the name Vanderdecken.
well, I mean, like, I don't think the devil fruits sink to the ocean. I think when you eat them, they sink. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a devil fruit can sink. I mean, it's not going to... Is it going to float?
I guess it depends what kind of fruit it is. Is it a floating kind of fruit?
Do fruits sink? I guess a banana would sink, right? I mean, like a coconut would float. But
What kind of coconut?
Wow, we've derailed this podcast.
I think that's the last one, Zach.
I think that is the last one. So why don't we round this thing off? Are you guys ready?
All right.
This has been the Unofficial One Piece Podcast, episode 335 for the week of Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014. Hope you guys liked this episode. I had a lot of fun with it, right? You guys have fun?
I had so much fun.
Always.
Lots of fun.
Really good chapter this week.
Really good chapter.
It was a really good chapter. We don't. I mean, with a weekly series, we were discussing a little bit before. You get your hits and you get your misses. Sometimes you get your regular old chapter. This was definitely a hit.
Well, on the hot or not list this week, this chapter was hot.
Yes, if we're gonna do that.
Yes, all cheers, no jeers.
Rama.
We'll be back next week with another manga recap, and we'll also be back with a double anime recap since we had 3D2Y this week, and also Toonami was off since there was an Attack on Titan marathon, so we'll be back with that as well. But we didn't miss anything, so there'll only be one Toonami recap next week, so sorry for all those looking for multiple Toonami recaps. And hopefully we'll have the Volume 75 segment out next week. If not, it will be out the week after. So, yeah, good. That's a lot going on. So, Ed, wait, before we get into how people could contact us, dude, what's going on with you?
I will be at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend peddling art, posters, and the like. I will also be peddling art in 2 weeks with the one and only Steve Yergo at SPX in Bethesda. You can also find me on www.superartfight.com. We just released episode 3 of our web show. You can watch the episodes, watch us art fight, and then vote for them. Vote for who you think you should win. I'm actually in the first of those episodes, which was released a few weeks ago, so please come check that out. And if you'll be in Baltimore on September 20th, Super Art Fight is going to have their big end of summer beach bash. Come see me go up against Team Sexifulness with my tag partner, the Commando, in what can only be described as a tag team battle for the tag team championship belt. And you can also find me at Dude! On Tumblr and Twitter.
Steve.
Hey. Well.
You doing Fonz impressions, or are we?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can find me at the Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland in a couple weeks. I will be there with the dude.
Hey, that's...
I know. Yeah. I know one person that listens to us will be there. Wait, I think he's going to be there. Anyway, you can find me there.
I mean, I'll probably be there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ed doesn't have anything to do anymore. We'll get to see him.
I'm so jealous.
I mean, I feel
I'm
like
not jealous.
I'm still enjoying this right now, but then the unemployment's going to get really old really fast.
Yeah, look, I was in that world too. You're
Yeah.
following in my footsteps, Ed.
Yeah.
But that's good because you'll
Freedom's
eventually get
overrated.
something.
Yeah.
Freedom's overrated. Yeah.
No, unemployment is good for like 2 months. I think is a very good amount of time.
We've all been unemployed at one point during this podcast.
Is that true?
Except for me.
Well, this is now you're doing it.
This is your first time.
Consistently employed or in school for the entirety of this podcast.
Dude, you were?
Yeah.
Dude was? I didn't know.
I don't know.
Dude was.
Well,
What?
were you unemployed
I think
at some point while
Dude is
recording the
employed.
podcast?
No, I'm employed.
No, I know you are now, but at some point.
Well, maybe
what?
you'll
Once upon
follow
a
the
time I
trend of
was.
Zach. If you might follow the trend of Zach, you'll just start growing your hair out like he did.
Oh my god, I had that mushroom-looking thing.
Yep.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about me.
Yeah, Steve, you're doing that webcomic?
I am doing that webcomic. It's called Jason, the Princess of the Universe. You could read it at jasoncomic.tumblr.com. I update on Fridays. What the hell's going on in the story?
It's really good. I recommend it.
Thank you.
My personal stamp of Zach recommendation.
Thank you. No, thank you. Another character has just joined the story. His name is Hans. He's a big, buff, bald guy he's also Dutch.
Yeah, he's another in the series of characters of yours who were inspired by Boss Rutan.
Have I had more than one?
I think there was the one in the old comic, unless it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Okay. No, but I was watching the bar fighting video this weekend.
It never gets old to me.
Never gets dang it, dang.
Dang. Excuse me, sir. Break your leg. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Boss Rutan bar fight video and look up the modified YouTube poop-ish version. It's great. But about me, I'm going to a bunch of other cons this year. I feel like I should mention that. I'm going to be at AWA again this year, New York Comic Con. I'm going to be at another anime convention, and then I think I will be returning to Youmacon in Detroit. But besides that, follow me on my Tumblr, steveyurko.tumblr.com. I know a lot of you do, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes and all the questions you send in. And, of course, you can follow me at Steve Yurko at Twitter.
Ed, what cons are you going to? I know you don't have anything to promote, so I'll ask that.
You know, I haven't really thought about it, but if I can make it to a convention, I will try. So I'm not really going to any.
You could always go to Anime USA. It's down the street from you.
That's true, and that will be I believe in October. So
yeah,
that's a weird time.
I won't be making it there this year.
Too bad.
But I think Tatum will be there, so say hi to him. Hello.
Ed, how could the good people out there contact us?
Well, Zach, they can go to OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com is our Tumblr. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. You can subscribe on SoundCloud. You can subscribe on the Stitcher Smart Radio app. You can subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, comments, theories, and suggestions about hockey. Since that's all we're taking. That's it. We only take hockey questions. Big thanks to our sponsor this week, Kolektakon. You can check them out at kolektakon.com/OnePiece. For all your One Piece Mega House merchandise. So I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. Big thanks, dude, for coming on again this week.
No problem.
And check out Super Art Fight. Don't forget to do that. Anyway, so for the unofficial One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.
Haki.
Crazy rainbow さ Twinkle twinkle rainbow さ コバルトブルーな色を重ねてゆこう Crazy rainbow さ Twinkle twinkle rainbow さ 瞳に映った悲しいリアルを壊せぬくもりつきの羽をあげようシュールなだってほしい心から歌うのさ
This is the Piece Together thread.
Thread.
This is the Piece Together thread on Reddit.
Here it is. Look at it. I'm going to read it for you. And it writes, Dear Batman and Robin.
And he writes, Welcome to the top 40. I'm your host, dead person.
Why do we always have to come out of a sad fucking talking about a dead dog or somebody's dead wife, and we go into a happy fucking song? It's not. Has anyone else heard this?
Yeah.
Yes. And how
I'm afraid
about
I
them
haven't.
Ghostbusters?
But it's okay, because at number 1, we have the song, I forget what the fuck it's called, but it's by Bread, 1979. Sometimes I will, on the weekends they have reruns of the top 40 from
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
the 1970s.
That's why I was like curious. I'm like, is he still doing this shit?
And no, it's just reruns. And
He just died. He died like
just
yeah.
passed
Oh yeah,
away.
he did die. Yeah, it was terrible.
first
we
he's
bet-
missing, and then he's
And
Anyway,
then he died, and then he was missing again.
no, he was missing, and then he died.
No, and then
then his body was missing.
yes,
Oh, does that
what,
seriously happen?
Really?
yeah, I'm not
That happened.
shitting with you, man.
Scooby Doo in the case of the grave robber.
Poor taste.
We better get off this.
Like
before this-
Scoob, it's me, Shaggy's ghost. I need you to lead me to my body.
Should we just do 20 minutes now?
No. Okay, Ed, I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment.
I'm sorry. I was expecting. Okay, now I know what that question is. I'm gonna read it and. Sacrifice it.
No, Steve, that's not what it means. It
So,
means it's
peace-
time for
No.
Peace the Tweet. Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, fine. We'll go with that take.
No, we should redo it. No one's gonna know what the hell we're talking about.